What a victory that is for the South East Sharks, a clinical display over the Midlands Tigers. They had no answer to the constant pressure from the Sharks.
Yeah, we didn't really see a solid orchestrated attack until that last one from Midlands, and yeah, that's 39 minutes too late, really.
Yeah, the Midlands Tigers just came up an opponent too strong, and the South East Sharks have claimed victory in the men's 30s final. What a fantastic performance from the Sharks, and we wish the Sharks player who was just down there
Philip Jackson, number 13, he looks conscious and sitting up, which is a good sign.
Yeah, he's just on the floor there, Philip Jackson. We wish him a really speedy recovery. It was a sad way to end this men's 30s final. And we'll now move on to our next game, which will come from the women's 27s. It'll be the women's 27s final coming up for you next, but it's the South East Sharks who have won the men's 30s final by 8 points to 1 over the Midlands Tigers.
I love playing touch because it's a game where you can play 14-year-olds and 60-year-olds together. You can play men and women, so you could have a daughter and a mum playing together, and it's a really good fun to play.
The boys are playing incredibly well. They're better than I've ever seen them play. We haven't used the full extent of our playbook, predominantly due to the weather conditions, but it's a slight shame.
I love playing touch because it's a game where you can play 14-year-olds and 60-year-olds together. You can play men and women, so you could have a daughter and a mum playing together, and it's a really good fun to play.
The boys are playing incredibly well. They're better than I've ever seen them play. We haven't used the full extent of our playbook, predominantly due to the weather conditions, but it's a slight shame. But they're doing their basics incredibly well, getting us down the park and getting us into a scoring situation almost every driving set. The thing for me is really the team cohesion. That winning these games, winning gold was never the goal for these boys. My goal for them was to get as many of the age-appropriate lads into the men's open training squad for 2020. And it's just fantastic to watch some of them really click, really start to play to their full potential. And I'm going to work very hard with the men's open coaches to make sure the boys that are of an appropriate age get a shot at the opens level.
It's been tough, but the result is exactly what we wanted. I'm incredibly proud. It was a really good campaign, and we've been very blessed with a very good cohesive team that has all worked together incredibly well, but couldn't have done anything without the assistant coaches of Keish and Catherine and Matt managing, and all the background help from the high performance team and Pippa. 13 debutants is probably a record for any junior touch team. I think I lost quite a few of the kids from last year, went up into 18s, managed to hang on to 3. The team just gelled straight away. We got working with lots of teamwork, and they just did brilliantly.
Bronze first year, and then we've had silver last year, and then we've done it. We've finally got the gold. So I could not be more proud of such an amazing group and so much youth and talent in that team. We've got 3 14-year-olds winning mixed 18s. It's incredible. Like, the future for England Touch is, yeah, it starts here and it's looking really, really bright.
Business as usual, I must say. I'm quoting Semi Phillips, High Performance, who has just said that, you know, we've been professional throughout the whole tournament. They have so much self-belief and they absolutely love working for their team and putting on that England jersey.
Couldn't be happier. This has been a sensational weekend for England Touch. 4 gold medals. I think we've never achieved that before at JTC, and we're ecstatic. It shows that our high performance programme is working and the athletes we're starting to create are fantastic, and we're so proud of them. Absolutely incredible to be unbeaten at championships in every division. So hats off to our coaching team and to the athletes themselves for producing such an outstanding result.
I got into touch because my eldest son, Clark Hobson, he was really into it, raved about it, and he achieved England standard. I thought, well, I could maybe do that. So I got into it through Nottingham Touch Club 3 or 4 years ago, following my wife and both my daughters into it. After they'd been to a taster session there, they encouraged me to join them and enjoy playing touch.
The weather is still dry and relatively warm here in Nottingham at the Riverside Centre, as part of the University of Nottingham's campus. My name is Chris Winworth. We're here for the next final, which is the women's 27s between the Midlands Tigers and West Wildcats, joined for this one by Robin Budd, who we've just seen play in the men's 30s for the Tigers against South East Sharks. But how tough was that?
Pretty tough. Play is a very generous description of the game I had. They're a good team, ran really well at us, so hoping our girls can get us a win, and that'll cheer me up a little bit.
It's the Midlands and the Wildcats have, had the majority of the finals over the past couple of hours, and I think there's another one coming up as well, obviously after this one. What is it about these categories and these areas? Because, you know, we see in the Opens that it tends to be dominated more by the Southeast teams, but yet the juniors and then the masters and seniors, tend to be spread around a bit more.
I think there's probably a couple of things. I think part of it might be chance. You have a sort of cohort of players who are at a club and they move into an age group. I think some of the women we've got here are sort of a generation that played all the way through the 27s and have played in the previous age groups together as well. I think the other thing is, once you start getting outside of London, you're more likely to come across, that's part of it as well.
And here we go, we're underway in this game. Midlands Tigers playing from right to left as we look in the white against the Wildcats in the black and orange, and we've had a swift exchange of possessions, and neither side will be wanting to look at that on the highlights reel. But here we go with the Tigers, and it's Sue Ellen God who's Sue Ellen Gotti, sorry.
Yeah, you're in trouble now.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm very much in trouble.
I think just an over the mark there. They'll want to just complete a set and get themselves back up at the line. We've had essentially a tap-off opportunity for both teams with the ball being turned over. Wildcats finally putting a bit of a spell together and putting the Tigers under pressure.
We've seen all the way through the day, it's not a massive number of attacks emanating from close to the line. They tend to be coming from deep. Why is that? As we see Wildcats just turn the ball over on the far side.
It's a big part of the game to work on that transition, and when you actually look at how a game breaks down, it's not often that common, unless it's a one-sided game or something sort of slightly unusual happens, that you get repeat sets on the line all the way through the game. Far often than not, you'll be starting more or less on your own line, trying to get up the pitch, trying to get your subs on, and then you'll have to try and attack off fourth and fifth. So it is just the rhythm of the game, especially if it's not a high scorer, is that most of the time the teams start in possession too far away to get too many sets up at the line. And then it's a real focus for teams now. Everyone now is really looking at, oh, Sadie Meakin no, it's Emily Harding going through.
And is this one going to get pulled back? There's going to be an interesting call now as to whether that's going to be given or whether it's a late pass.
They're just going to have a consultation, I think, whether or not it was a touch and pass there. Fantastic scoop by Emily Harding there. She went really hard through the middle there.
I think what's the...
on the way back there, so we're going back for that rather than dealing with the question of what happened on the line.
So, and here come the Tigers. They've had one ruled out, but they've still got the fresh set of six close to the Wildcats line, but good defence from the Wildcats getting in the Tigers' faces, but plenty of calmness as well. There's plenty of experience in this Tigers lineup with Kat Jones, the Women's 27s captain, Sadie Meakin, who you mentioned, who isn't on the field. She's played Women's Open. Sue Ellen Gotti, she's part of the Women's 27s that won bronze at the World Cup and hit her 50th appearance for England in that, as Kat Jones goes towards the line. But the ball hits the deck there. You know, you're talking before about, players, getting more experience at the clubs that are outside. We're speaking about people from Cambridge and the Nottingham clubs there. So coming back from World Cup, and you were there coaching the women's 35s out in Malaysia as well. In terms of the impact that then has on everybody else in the region, must be very positive.
Oh, it's fantastic, and it's so much about trying to make sure we sort of pass those lessons on and get as much of that experience over, just an over the mark there. So we're heading back to Tigers for having a bit of an attack. The opportunities you get to learn within the England setup are really still unparalleled, unless you're sort of very fortunate with who you have at your club. So Kat's fantastic. She coached our mixed open team, open nationals, as well as playing women's open, and really sort of passed on some of that knowledge from the World Cup.
And here we go is Jen Lee, who we saw playing opens, and Sadie Meek, and both of them we saw playing opens for the Midlands at the Nationals.
Sadie just couldn't quite get it in and out there. I think there was a little opportunity on the wing there.
Both players have the ability to go left and right with the long passes, and Jen Lee gets the ball out to Tigers' Melinda Sutton. St Albans' Melinda Sutton.
I believe that's Melissa Williams.
So I apologise, that's Melissa Williams. Well spotted there. So I saw the one and not the two. Melissa Williams from Norwich Rebels, and that's starting to see players from those clubs who have been building up the experience and in the developing national touch series get playing alongside the likes of Jen, and as we'll have a bit more of a chat about that, as Jen Lee, the aforementioned Jen Lee, gets the ball wide to Melissa Williams, and that is the opening score of this game for the Midland Tigers. Playing alongside, this is the where we're talking about.
Oh, it's so many things, and I had an interesting conversation with Ed, who was the head coach of the 35s, about how a couple of players we're seeing here play age group who've been out of the England setup for a while, just will approach certain situations a little bit differently to the ones who've been around for the sort of little bits of innovation that we've had coming through. So how will people look to cover themselves on the line in defence, sort of some of the options they'll try and take. I think a lot of the expectation around technical skills gone up, your ability to sort of touch selection in defence, how you're going to roll the ball, your ability to pass, those kind of things. So it really is, it can be across the board for some players, definitely.
And the Tigers get the roll going into the Wildcats' arse. Here comes Sadie Meakin and Kat Jones combining. And Emily Harding as well from Nottingham. She came close to setting up the score a minute ago, and it's sixth touch and turnover, and
decided to have a sit down and a rest immediately afterwards.
I know that feeling out from field 3 earlier on when I was reffing. It's an extended break for the rest of the day.
I mean, you were talking about the other small clubs, and it's nice to see we've got Melissa, who just made the touch, and Maeve Ahern and Emma Garfield all on there. Maeve and Emma from St Albans, Melissa from Norwich. So there's a real range of clubs kind of contributing to this team.
Well, this is the thing now in terms of the Midlands, is that, you know, Norwich had 2 teams in the final round of the Developing National Touch Series in Derby last weekend, and St Albans had 2 teams as well. Peterborough have got a team in every round as well, you know, so it's not just the Cambridge and the Nottingham, and Nottingham obviously, you know, have 2 teams.
18 teams in most rounds, yeah.
It feels like it, doesn't it? I mean, they had 2 teams as well, in addition to the teams that, as I say, from Cambridge and Nottingham that are going into the 2-day tournaments. But, you know, it's becoming a real hotbed of club touch, and it's expanding all the time.
Yeah, and I think the other strength of the Midlands for us is if you are a player from a slightly smaller club who aren't themselves going to get to a DTS, but you're really keen, you make those kind of connections that are really nice. Oh, thought that might have just gone to Lucy Snape, but instead it went to Hannah Suzuki's forehead, which probably wasn't the intended target.
Here comes Sammy Phillips for the Wildcats, women's 27s, and the head of England Touch's head of elite performance as well, and she's at the hub of this Wildcats drive as they look to get out of their own half. Over the line goes Louise Carr from the Thames Valley Vikings, but that just hits the deck, and Lucy Snape will restart with Melissa Williams, and Hannah Suzuki gets the ball off the park.
Coming in here, they've almost got a tap off. They've got that turnover right on the line, so you want to see him strike. This will be third coming up. Oh, they're using the opportunity to get the players. Emir Conroy down the wing. Nearly.
And Zoe Parrish is back into the system as well. So I know we're talking a lot about the Midlands, but in terms of the Wildcats, you know, Claire Rylance in the middle, Rita Shevchenko there makes the touch. You know, that's again, as we were talking before about how it's so competitive at seniors and masters categories. As Sadie Meakin goes for the line and makes it, Rita Shevchenko not back to the line in time. Play through comes the call from the referee, and Sadie Meakin is over to extend the lead. Just in terms of that's textbook attacking for the offside player, isn't it?
Yeah, she just forced Rita onto her, to sort of covering her outside and stepped back in. Rita, fair enough, thought, well, I might as well have a little dabble here and see if I can get away with it, but good play on from the ref, and nice score from Sadie. Good awareness as well. It's sometimes, I mean, Sadie's an extremely experienced player. You'd hope she wouldn't do it, but you've just got to remember that that player offside of you is someone you can go through if you need to. So really nice score.
And here come the Wildcats looking to get on the board. Sammy Phillips finds Becky Anderson, 2 club mates from the Vikings. Combine, and the ball goes wide to Katrina Rollison from Wellesbourne, and it just dies. It hits the deck, and the Tigers.
It's like Sammy's struggling with an ankle or something there. That's not a good thing to see. And a shoelace as well.
And the Tigers restart from their own fight going. Zoe Parrish comes on the field, Lucy Snape and Jen Lee. These England internationals just keep on flooding onto the field for the Tigers. Touch called. Yeah,
that'll be frustrating. So that was 5th, so they probably would have been looking to scoop. Jen, I think, looks like she thought she just saw a little gap she could have ghosted through and just got snagged on the way there, so frustrating one there.
Zoe Parrish combines with Jen Lee and Lucy Snape. Fresh set of 6 called. And that must have been played out by a Wildcats player. It's the Tigers. We're talking to the referee and getting the call as well. Now here comes Jen Lee, finds Zoe Parrish. The floor, and Jen commuted up from Spain to play in this weekend's tournament. So
second highest air miles in the team, because we had Zoe Parrish come over from Australia. So normally that would have been enough to get her the trophy, but Zoe's coming over from,
Claire Rylance takes that first touch, and here come the Wildcats looking to get some fresh players on to the park, but Lucy Neal Hook, and now on comes the pace from Samantha Powells.
Sam Powell's looking really sharp there, just found a little gap to go for, nearly snuck through. I think, unfortunately, generally not a woman you can easily get past, but really nice extra yards she's made there.
Rita Shevchenko took the touch there, and it comes off from Laura Mitchell from Oxford. And what a lovely pass out to Katrina Rollison, but that's a 6th touch and a turnover, so some good interplay there. There's the Wildcats, you know, it's a good spread of clubs. Thames Valley Vikings, Revolution, they're new onto the scene this year from the West Midlands, Oxford, Warwick, Wellesbourne, Cheltenham and Didcot, you know, so just in this team alone. And
in the age groups, but more and more sort of starting to push into the opens, and it's the thing that needs to happen for the game. It's not enough for just, I don't know, 8 clubs to sort of be the ones who generate the elite players. You need to be starting to find these athletes from other teams, and it's been great to see. And the DTS, I've been down, for my sins, played in one round, but mostly refereed it, and it's tight. The sort of, especially once you get towards the top games at the end, that is some really, really nice touch being played.
Yeah, it did some totting up during the week. Is that 35 teams in total from 31 clubs played in the Development National Touch Series this year. Some more often than others. As see Lucy Neal Hook from Vikings hits the ball, is the instigator for that attack, and the ball just goes to ground on the far side. 16 of those 36 ended up with trophies.
Well, one of the nicest things about the DTS is you get stratified after the pool stages, and there's always something to play for at the end of the day. So we ended up, I played for St Albans' second team in the last round, and we ended up finding our way into a final after finishing, I think, 3rd in our pool. And it does just keep that day alive, I think. If you turn around and said, oh, well, you know, you're playing for 15th, it's one thing. If you're playing for a plate or a spoon or a bowl or really any other item of cutlery, it's just gives you a little bit more of something to go for.
At the end of the day, people just end up playing for beer rights, don't they, at the end of the day? But here come the Tigers, sorry. Just over midway point in this first half of this Women's 27s final from the Riverside Sports Centre in Nottingham in the heart of England. And thank you very much to the weather for holding out this weekend. It's a lovely day yesterday in the sun, and while there's a wee bit of cloud cover today, the temperature's still in the high teens. A little bit of a breeze coming across by the River Trent, part of the University of Nottingham's outstanding sports facilities, and we had quite a few football games going on over in the expanse of the land to the left of the camera angle, and it will be back here in Nottingham for the 2020 European Touch Championships at the Highfield Sports Centre. And how much of a carrot is the fact that, you know, that there are going to be 11 teams from England in that championships next year, as Hannah Suzuki gets some pace going. Lucy Snape finds Jen Lee and Sadie Meakin on the field as well. There's plenty of playmakers in the setup. Lucy Snape gets the ball off the floor to Jen Lee, and that's a 6th touch and a turnover. As I said, you know, it's 11 categories next year, 11 teams next year, or going all the way up to men's 50s. So how much of a carrot is that for everybody wanting to be back? And, you know, and you say that it's extraordinarily competitive across the board this year.
Yeah, I mean, here is the place to be seen. It's those real kind of out of nowhere players that will all of a sudden find themselves competing with, you know, some really established players, and it's great to see. And like I said, when I did a little bit of sort of scouting of players to help out yesterday, and when you see someone who you've not heard the name before, you've not seen them around the circuit too much before, and you think actually there's really something to offer there, it's really nice. It's how the game grows.
Sue Ellen Gotti is not is a familiar face, at this age category, and the ball comes to Tamara Slater.
Tamara and Emma Garfield working nicely in the mid there. I think just looking to set up here, looking to strike. I think see what we've got.
And Tamara Slater, who's also been coaching this team over the course of the weekend, and gets the ball wide.
That's a fantastic finish from Emir Conroy, yes.
That has been given indeed. And just talk us through this one, Rob. It's just looks to be a bit of pace, and the dummy runners fixing the defenders as much as anything.
Yeah, I think the link, I think it might be Sam, just got a little bit caught inside there. They had the numbers within the space to cover, but as soon as sort of Sam came in a little bit tight, her winger had to come in, and that gave Emir the opportunity. Still had to finish it. I'm going to correct myself. Emir like FEMA, she told me earlier, so I don't want to get in trouble. You've still got to finish it, and in those scenarios, you've only got a really small window to sort of get the ball down. She managed it really nicely, so nice score for her, I'd say.
Wildcats try to set up camp. Becky Anderson goes through the middle, and Lucy Neal Hook, the two Vikings combining and feeding the ball out to Louise Carr. And here comes Lucy Neal Hook. Laura Mitchell, and after the
unmarked, and that was the opportunity to dot down.
And Laura Mitchell slamming on the brakes in that situation. I think the temptation can be when you're getting to the scoreline to try and get very close to the ball runner, to the ball player at the time, but she did exactly the right thing, and by slamming the brakes on, she lost as much of a marker as if she'd have had the acceleration.
It's so much about composure when someone scoops into a ball, defensive composure and attacking composure. All of a sudden everyone starts panicking about the scooper. If you're a defender, you're trying to pick up your right player. If you're an attacker, you're trying to find an option. So often it is the person who says, well, hang on, let me stop here, let me find some space, that makes a big difference. So nice work there.
There's a Top Gun Maverick move, slamming the brakes, and they fly right by, and that time it's Zoe Parrish taking flight, trying to dive for the line, but gets touched on the way through. And Jen Lee, one of the many playmakers for this Midlands Tigers outfit, and she's the one who extends the lead back to 3 once again, sending the ball back to halfway, and that's just a simple thing, just a bit more awareness. And I think now that we're coming to the end of the first half, it already seems that it's just the sheer, if nothing else, it's the sheer number of ball players and game breakers that the Tigers have got. You know, we're just rattling them off. You know, Jen Lee, Sadie Meakin, Kat Jones, Sue Ellen Gotti, Tamara Slater, you know, just
Lucy Snape. There's a lot of like, as we were talking earlier about sort of cohorts of players, and it is almost the sort of the core or the engine room of the women's 27s England team. A large amount of it is playing in our team here tonight, so it's fantastic. And for us as well, it's all the other players. Emma Garfield going up there to make a touch, for instance, who's now been part of that for the weekend. I think she'll want the defenders to come back up there.
And Rita Shevchenko gets the ball off the floor, tries to get it wide. There's the ball just dies, the pass just dies. Becky Anderson heavily involved again, and fair play to the Wildcats. They are putting the Tigers under pressure, but I think it's the Tigers' composure in defence. Sue Ellen Gotti now takes the ball forward.
It's a cliche, but I think it's just about how clinical the teams have been on the line. There's been, I would say, as a sort of rocking battle, it's not been extremely uneven. I think Tigers might have just had the better of that, but it's more that Parrish a little bit hurt there. I think she's got a little bit of a hard touch. It's more that when they've got on the line, Tigers have found an option, or maybe there've been a little error by Wildcats that have given them another option. Emily Harding again nearly scooping through, just almost paused for a second to see if she wanted to find support.
Emily Harding, one of the lesser known players that you would have, you know, you're talking about before, in the kind of surprises that you may just want to have a look at in the, well, that head coach, 27's head coach Gary Lambert, is having a couple of
Laura Mitchell, I think, I don't think there was any malice in it. I think she might have just got caught in the throat there, but it's always a bit of a shocker when it happens.
But some people who head coach Gary Lambert recently appointed, reappointed, should I say, head coach Gary Lambert will be wanting to have a look at. And here comes...
And there's another one, Luke Carr. Really good score there. Just a little bit of speed through the gap and just managed to sort of edge her way through the middle. Yeah, really good score.
She was a non-travelling reserve for the World Cup. And Sammy Phillips there, just holding the play, just lovely, just a little bit of a shine going, just delaying the pass and timing that offload superbly.
I think that we had the sort of link up in Maeve Ahern, and if you're going to do that, you really typically want the winger to come up with you as well, give you a bit of cover on the outside. So in the end, Maeve came up. Sammy Phillips, obviously fantastic ball player, got the ball around her, and it just meant it turned into a sort of, could have been a 2-on-1, and in the end the winger stayed out, so it was just a space for her to go through.
And that's the final play of this first half. So, Rob, just as we go into the break, just in half a sentence for each, a sentence in total. And I know this is difficult for you, as one of the more verbose people in the England Touch High Performance setup over the past year. What's going to be said in each sub-box?
I think if you're Midlands, you look at it and you say, we're winning this game, we're getting up the line and we're scoring when we're there. So it's about trusting those processes. I think there's a few defensive tweaks they might want to look at. With what happened in that last one, there's a sort of... They need to make sure they've got answers to those questions. Wildcats, I think it is tricky. There's a few more inexperienced players, so typically if you've got a team like that, what you want to say is, we want to run a game plan that is not massively complicated, but is really effective. So my guess is they'd say, go back to your processes, make sure we're executing them. They have made opportunities on the line. They've just not quite made enough of them, not quite put enough pressure on. So it's got to come a little bit further on from that.
Lots of comments in that half sentence there from Robin Budd. We'll be back for the second half in just a couple of minutes' time here from the Riverside Sports Centre in Nottingham.
The boys are playing incredibly well. They're better than I've ever seen them play. We haven't used the full extent of our playbook, predominantly due to the weather conditions, but it's a slight shame. But they're doing their basics incredibly well, getting us down the park and getting us into a scoring situation almost every driving step. The thing for me is really the team cohesion. That winning these games, winning gold was never the goal for these boys. My goal for them was to get as many of the age-appropriate lads into the men's open training squad for 2020. And it's just fantastic to watch some of them really click, really start to play to their full potential. And I'm going to work very hard with the men's open coaches to make sure the boys that are of an appropriate age get a shot at the open table.
It's been tough, but the result is exactly what we wanted. I'm incredibly proud. It was a really good campaign, and we've been very blessed with a very good cohesive team that has all worked together incredibly well, but couldn't have done anything without the assistant coaches of Keish and Catherine and Matt managing, and all the background help from the high performance team and Pippa. 13 debutants is probably a record for any junior touch team. I think I lost quite a few of the kids from last year, went up into 18s, managed to hang on to 3. The team just gelled straight away. We got working with lots of teamwork, and they just did brilliantly.
Bronze first year, and then we've had silver last year, and then we've done it. We've finally got the gold. So I could not be more proud of such an amazing group and so much youth and talent in that team. We've got 3 14-year-olds winning mixed 18s. It's incredible. Like, the future for England Touch is, it starts here, and it's looking really, really bright.
Business as usual, I must say. I'm quoting Sammy Phillips, High Performance, who has just said that, we've been professional throughout the whole tournament. They have so much self-belief, and they absolutely love working for their team and putting on that England jersey.
Couldn't be happier. This has been a sensational weekend for England Touch. 4 gold medals. I don't think we've never achieved that before at JTC, and we're ecstatic. It shows that our high performance programme is working, and the athletes we're starting to create are fantastic, and we're so proud of them. Absolutely incredible to be unbeaten at championships in every division. So hats off to our coaching team and to the athletes themselves for producing such an outstanding result.
Welcome back to the 2019 Seniors and Masters Nationals from the Riverside Sports Centre in Nottingham, in the heart of England. My name's Chris Wearmouth. I'm joined by Robin Budd from the Midlands Tigers men's 30s team, and also the assistant coach for the bronze medal winning women's 35s England team at the 2019 Touch World Cup. And we've got the women's 27s final currently underway. The Midland Tigers in white leading 4-2 against the West Wildcats. Sammy Phillips, you saw in that video just there at half-time, one of the fulcrums of this Wildcats team and the head of elite performance, and they just plays an integral role as the Wildcats get the first score on the board. Samantha White from Didcot going over the line. It's a lovely bit of play here from Sammy.
Good composure and good work from them. They did a nice job of keeping the ball alive, keeping Midlands under pressure. And then sort of took their opportunity when it emerged. I think we just needed Midlands popping off the line a little bit harder there and sort of shutting down that opportunity. But nice score, and I think if I can try and only keep it to one sentence, but one of the things they would have said at half-time that I didn't mention was probably, we've got tap-off and that needs to be our way back into the game, and they've taken it really well.
Half the job done, the other half still to do, as Sue Ellen Gotti feeds Tamara Slater is they've got to hold this out. Sadie Meakin, it's not an easy task. Sadie Meakin diving for the line. Is this going to get given? No, it's not. Touched there.
I think it was a nod of yes, you've made the touch, not a nod of yes, you've scored to Sadie. But we always try and read a lot into the body language of referees. I think when you're sort of watching from where you can't hear them.
Sadie Meakin goes left. Sue Ellen Gotti goes right. Doesn't matter.
That's a great score.
That's what splits the defence, and the Tigers have scored to take the margin back out to 2 again. I mean, we talked in the first half about dummy runners making the score. Sadie Meakin coming on and going to the left and providing that option, and all of a sudden the Wildcats defence is spread, creating that extra metre of space all the way through.
Yeah, I mean the sort of wing off screen at the beginning, so can't see quite what happened there, but Melissa Williams finding a bit of space, which is a fantastic bit of work there to sort of give her the opportunity to dot down, and Tamara Slater, I think, fixing her player to again open up that space for other players. So much of the work in these kind of situations is by the players off the ball, so nice little work to give that bit of space to Mel, as I say.
Harriet Grant's pass hits the deck, and it's a roll ball restart for the Midland Tigers, and a set of 6 from deep in their own line, in their own half. Sorry, Zoe Parrish takes the touch. Kat Jones gets the ball off the floor, and up to the 10-metre line the Tigers go as the fresh legs come on, and Hannah Suzuki gets the ball down. It's an interesting bit of play as generally gets some momentum going into the Wildcats half, as Lucy Snape passes the ball after being touched. Kevin Hill takes his time, but doesn't hurry up. No,
very smart. I do a bit of reffing and was busted the other day by repeatedly telling a player as they started that sideline, and it's happened again here for the Wildcats. It's so much of a potential area of confusion when you've got players running on and running off. In that last game I was playing, and I managed to throw it straight into my teammate's breadbasket and straight back out again because he had no idea I was going to do it. And it just managing that, something that occasionally does go to pot, and you've just got to kind of assemble your way out of it as best you can.
It's been one of the things we've seen over the course of the year. We were talking about it earlier on, watching one of the Southeast teams play. And it seems to be a hallmark of the Southeast team, and CSSC in particular, the London Eagles, that they really work to get over the halfway line before they get fresh players on, so they're coming into the players opposed to behind the players. And just to show, just to elaborate on what you were saying there, it just shows how much work they put into that the Tigers there found it difficult because they're getting people in from behind the play.
I think that was probably a factor. I think you are always slightly struggling. You want to be able to sort of come straight onto the ball and go for Emir Conroy again. Just caught there by number 7 on the wing. Yeah, you're looking to give yourself as much momentum going forwards. If you have to, as a substitute, run backwards in order to go forwards, you're going to struggle. And also, when you do look to strike on touch 4 or 5, you've got 30, 35 metres to cover instead of sort of 20, 10 or sort of which you're more going to be after. So Wildcats here, it's a nice little setup here. Sam Powell's again sees a little bit of space and just takes it nicely.
But overstepped.
I think she just skidded over the mark there, yeah.
Yeah, she got touched by Tamara Slater, and then played the ball at the start of the second, where she got touched the second time. Bit of a let to the players, opposed and not having to force it as much. Kat Jones gets the ball off the floor to...
It's Emily Harding just dropping off to Kat Jones there. Yeah, benefited from the turnover being slightly higher up the pitch, but now they've sort of given themselves an opportunity to have a bit of a try at the line. I think there might not be too many touches left, maybe just one, but gives them an opportunity.
Kat Jones, the calm and methodical presence, the captain of the women's 27s. There's a teammate from the international level, Sue Ellen Gotti. That ball has gone wide to Melissa Williams. Is this being given?
I think there's a question about whether it was in her control, and I think they're happy. So touch different to rugby union. The ball needs to be fully in your control. You can't just dot it down. I think Mel had it before she didn't have it, and that's fine.
So I was looking quizzically at Rob there. It's just whether it just needed downward pressure on it, but it's one of the things about touch is that the ball just can't hit the deck for play on. But here come the Wildcats. They scored with their opening attack of the half, but they've now conceded a further 3 to make it 6-3. So the Midlands at the end of this round of pit stop, so to speak, have come out very much on ahead. Dive comes in from Thames Valley Vikings Louise Carr, but she's touched on the way through.
Lucy Snape, very calm defender there. Nice little job of just making sure there wasn't an opportunity through there. And Lucy Neal Hooks just spilled it with that. It's unfortunate. Probably when you start thinking about the next job before you finish the one on your plate, unfortunately, sometimes that just kind of trickles away.
Many years ago, when I was still playing rugby union, we had a dearth of centres in the team, and we had a prop who was a very good ball handler. And he showed in one game why he was a prop, because it was doing exactly what you said. He just was looking to what he was going to do with the ball rather than catching it first. And he ended up at the centre as Zoe Parrish gets a bit of a sniper shot over there on the far side as she's retreating back into the centre line. But keeping their mind very much on it is Lucy Neal-Hook, and Claire Rylance there is going to go in as dummy half. Asla half, sorry. It's Tamara Slater, shuts things down.
Really aggressive defence from Tamara, and I think again it's something you want to see more from these teams. Is very often if the ball's recycled close to the line, they sort of take their time setting up, and the defence let the attack have all the time they want. When you rush up, so often that creates errors, that creates pressure, that creates indecision. It did there. It burned a touch off the West Wildcats.
Claire Rylance gets the ball wide, coming to the left, and that's a 6th touch on Becky Anderson, but that was a close run thing. Plenty of diving.
I would guess we might have just had a touch, no touch here, or something similar to that. So Melissa Williams looked like she was going to get it, and then was it Becky Anderson, number 30, just managed to get away. Touch came in after that, so no score, but it does mean they have another opportunity. It's sort of good faith error where you're so sure you're going to make it, you call.
The Warwick lady, and here comes Lucy Neal-Hook and Natasha Rose. Touch comes in. Is the ball grounded? First, no, it's not. That was a good touch, good defence.
A calm down hand motion there from Sammy Phillips, and I think that is what's required. They got a little bit overexcited about sort of attacking into that corner, but the thing about touch is you need that space. Even if you've got an opportunity, a bit of an overlap, you just can't get too much with only a few metres to play with.
Sammy Phillips gets the ball wide to Lucy, gets the ball out to Lucy Neal-Hook. I suspect that wasn't so much the move, or there was a bit of rough timing coming in, but this is the thing, you know, we're talking earlier on about the clinical finishing from the Midland Tigers proving the difference, and that experience from their variety of England internationals, both in terms of it in the seniors, but also the opens categories as well, and that's proving the case in terms of that difference and that clinical nature. You know, chances are is that the Midlands would have finished that off. Wildcats come away disappointed. It's a little bit disjointed. Sammy Phillips, though, gets past Melissa Williams just, but the touch comes in, looks to be getting past, but the go-go gadget arm from the Norwich Rebel.
Yeah, really good touch there, just sort of caught Sammy checking back in on the inside.
Cat Jones getting in the face of Laura Mitchell.
Just in danger of the wheels coming off here for Wildcats. You've got to look at it as 3 scores, 10 minutes. There's plenty of game if they want it, if they can just get it together, and an error there from Midlands. So
and they've been handed this position on a plate by the Tigers, and here they go with the roll ball restart. Rita Shevchenko gets the ball off the floor. Big Grant sets Tigers staying very, very calm on their own line.
Yeah, composure was definitely a big factor there, and Cat Jones on that last touch just kind of waved an arm out, knowing that she had it nicely covered. So it is, I think it is just about the Wildcats have got to go back to their processes and make sure they can execute them to their best potential, and that's how they'll get back in this game.
Sadie Meakin has Lucy Snape in support, but the ball hits the deck, and there is a penalty for a forward pass in there. But
yeah, must have just crept forward in the build-up there. So again, Wildcats here, not quite a tap off. They're 10 metres off halfway when they started this, but it is an opportunity to strike on the line. So they're getting a fresh set on, that's fine, that makes sense, but they really, really need to make sure that on 4th or 5th here, they run something that gives them a potential for a score.
Claire Rylance straightens things up. Sammy Phillips comes on the scoop, puts the pedal to the metal, and the ball goes wide out to Natasha Rose. She's just overrun the pass a little bit. You can see the angst on Sammy Phillips's face as she's running back, and you know, I think that's, as you say, that's telling the story of this game, really, of Wildcats getting into the positions, just not able to finish things off. Tigers get the pace going over halfway. Jen Lee took it there. Sue Ellen Gotti next. Tamara Slater off the floor. And here's Sadie Meakin, good hand. She just overrun it on there. She is on the scoop, can't get touched. gets the ball back from Tamara Slater. Here we come. Tigers playing some wonderful stuff. Sue Ellen Gotti out to the wide. What a fantastic score from the Tigers.
Mel Sutton scoring in front of her clubmates from St Albans in the corner there. If you see the chaps sitting down in their easy chairs, that's her clubmates. So that'll be a lovely moment for her. Really, again, we talk about composure. Sue Ellen knows she's got to make that ball and does it nice, and if she knows she has time to do it and executes it nice, it's right where Mel wants it.
That was some fantastic interplay though from the middle. All of those, I say it once again, all of those England players coming through the middle, and and showing that that they used to. I mean, it shows also a little bit of the development, doesn't it, in terms of how the Tigers how the Midlands are just a little bit further along the development path than the Wildcats are in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that situation, again, you look at composure and you look at sort of being able to read each other, and certainly the fact that these players have played a fair amount together. I mean, we've got some Cambridge and some Nottingham players in that centre, as well as a sort of few from the other clubs, but they have also occasionally they'll sort of join up for things like women's tournaments. So there's definitely a bit of understanding between them, but also just they kept calm and they sort of recycled the ball.
And here comes Emma Conroy. On the far side, Kat Jones takes the touch. Emma Conroy off the floor.
Nice hands there, just put Emma into a little bit of extra space and just gain them a few more yards in the build-up to that, and that's just put Midlands on the front foot going into this transition. So
Lucy Snape and Jen Lee off the floor. The England Women's 27s bronze medal winner finds the England's 35s bronze medal winner, all both from the World Cup. 6-touch turnover though. Some good driving from the Midlands and well recovered from the Wildcats to shut that down 15 metres from their own line. Lovely bit of juggling there. Much needed.
Oh dear.
It's just such a shame.
We had a player in our squad for one of the Opens teams who managed to catch one of those behind her back, and then she was falling forwards, turned it into a forward roll, and then came up still holding the ball. You can't really coach that, is the only thing I can think about it.
It happens very rare. The only time I can remember that happening was Michael Dodds playing for Northampton about 20-something years ago. Showing my age, fitting in nicely here at the Seniors and Masters. Plenty of categories. Here comes Jen Lee. Coming out wide to Melissa Williams.
Good hands from Melissa, but unfortunately, if you're going to be able to dot that down, you need it lower. So obviously, catching it above her head, just can't get your body down in place to score before the winger catches up with her. But stretch the defence again, created a nice opportunity.
Sue Ellen Gotti gets the ball off the floor to Lucy Snape. 5th touch, last touch to play, turnover. There's going to be a chat as to whether Rita Shevchenko is offside. Was she offside? And lots of chat from the on-field referee.
Rebecca Fant making sure the players knew here, and not a great pass to Sammy, so she's going to be struggling to look to see if she can get some go forward here.
It's a highly aggressive Tigers defence, and we've shown there from the 3 players, Sue Ellen Gotti, Jen Lee, Hannah Suzuki, but then it's Lucy Snape who wins the turnover on the half. Claire Ryland, since the 3 were retreating back, she goes up as the single defender, very aggressive, as I say, and it's won a turnover for the Tigers.
It's that lack of momentum that gives you the opportunity to have a defender staying deep and then shooting on the next phase. Those kind of things that is why it's so important to really roll up onto your line onto the opposition's line with a lot of momentum.
Emma Garfield finds Zoe Parrish and Sadie Meakin, and
it looked like they considered a phase option there, so you wouldn't normally try and roll the ball so close to the opposition line, because obviously they can get right up in your face, as happened. But I think there might have just been a hint of an overlap that they could have gone for, but just hasn't quite come off here.
3 minutes to play though, just over 3 minutes to play. I think I'm going to call this one now, that the Tigers are going to head home with the medals around their necks, and it's going to be a well-deserved victory.
Yeah, I mean, it's inarguable that they've been a stronger team through this game. They've looked like they are sort of a little bit clearer on how they're going to get their scores on the line, and they've defended strongly, and it's told in the scoreline. So I think there can't be too many complaints from the West. They might want to go back and look at what they can tighten up for next time. But yeah.
Just in terms of for the Wildcats, what are they going to take out of this in terms of the experience of coming up against the Tigers, this jam-packed Tigers team full of talent?
Absolutely. Playing against these teams, you have that lack of time, you have that lack of opportunity that from teams that are sort of defending really strongly. So means that maybe bad habits you've got into, or you might have been able to get away with it playing at a slightly lower level, you all of a sudden need to tighten up, and people go away and do that. And also, if you're a Wildcat, you've had a chance to play alongside Sammy and those players who've got the international experience as well themselves, so it'll be a big development opportunity for them.
This is the third of 6 finals that we're having here in Nottingham this afternoon. Just coming up as the Wildcats set things up. Sam gets it off the floor. Ball comes out wide and inside to Samantha Powell's. Touch comes in though.
Melissa Williams didn't get
and it comes to an end on the 6-touch turnover. 90 seconds to play here, but coming up in a few minutes' time, 12 minutes' time in fact, we'll have the women's 35s final between the West Wildcats and the South East Sharks. Sharks, again, well, this was going to be a really interesting one. I mean, the Sharks, are again, it's like a who's who of the England 35s team.
Yeah, a lot of the ladies we went out to Malaysia with playing today, so I've tried to sort of find an opportunity to go over and check in with all of them. Wildcats, again, when you talk about sort of almost cohorts of players, they've got a... Well, did she just get through there?
Hannah Suzuki on the dive. Jen Lee goes through, and this is the...
Great finish from Hannah Suzuki there. Oh, yep.
The pièce de résistance from the Tigers comes from Hannah Suzuki as she goes through, and we have a look at that highlight. And then it's the Sharks against South East Sharks against the Midlands Tigers in the men's 35s category. That will round things off at 5-4, tap off for that game. So we've got plenty more action coming up until around about 20-5, 4-5, that kind of time, when the domestic season will come to a close, and we're only just around the corner from the University National Touch Series, and it all starts all over again in our 12-month calendar. But in terms of, just very quickly, in terms of the difficulties of selection that I know they can name broader squads between now and the end of the year, but how difficult is it going to be to even whittle all of these teams down to a 20 or a 30 player squad?
Oh, it's extremely hard, and part of it as well is you never quite know what someone might do once you take them into that England environment, and we had players who really real game breakers for us. So difficult job for the selectors, and I'm glad I'm not really one of them. I've just only done a little bit of helping out.
Wildcats have the last play of the game, but it's Tigers who will head home with the trophy and the medals around their necks. Midlands Tigers taking the women's 27s team. So the women's 27s final, should I say, 8-3. Thank you very much to Robin Budd for his time over the last 45 minutes or so. Stick around, because in 10 minutes' time we are going to have the women's 35s final between the South East Sharks and the West Wildcats. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back, and with some reaction following this game as well.
I love playing touch because it's a game where you can play 14-year-olds and 60-year-olds together. You can play men and women, so you could have a daughter and a mum playing together, and it's a really good fun to play.
The boys are playing incredibly well. They're better than I've ever seen them play. We haven't used the full extent of our playbook, predominantly due to the weather conditions, but it's a slight shame. But they're doing their basics incredibly well, getting us down the park and getting us into a scoring situation almost every driving step. The thing for me is really the team cohesion. That winning these games, winning gold was never the goal for these boys. My goal for them was to get as many of the age-appropriate lads into the men's open training squad for 2020. And it's just fantastic to watch some of them really click, really start to play to their full potential. And I'm going to work very hard with the men's open coaches to make sure the boys that are of an appropriate age get a shot at the opens level.
It's been tough, but the result is exactly what we wanted. I'm incredibly proud. It was a really good campaign, and we've been very blessed with a very good cohesive team that has all worked together incredibly well, but couldn't have done anything without the assistant coaches of Keish and Catherine and Matt managing, and all the background help from the high performance team and Pippa. 13 debutants is probably a record for any junior touch team. I think I lost quite a few of the kids from last year, went up into 18s, managed to hang on to 3. The team just gelled straight away. We got working with lots of teamwork, and they just did brilliantly.
I had silver last year, and then we've done it. We've finally got the gold. So I could not be more proud of such an amazing group and so much youth and talent in that team. We've got 3 14-year-olds winning mixed 18s. It's incredible. Like, the future for England Touch is, it starts here and it's looking really, really bright.
Business as usual, I must say. I'm quoting Sammy Phillips, High Performance, who has just said that, we've been professional throughout the whole tournament. They have so much self-belief and they absolutely love working for their team and putting on that England jersey.
Couldn't be happier. This has been a sensational weekend for England Touch. 4 gold medals. I think we've never achieved that before at JTC, and we're ecstatic. It shows that our high performance programme is working and the athletes we're starting to create are fantastic, and we're so proud of them. Absolutely incredible to be unbeaten at championships in every division. So hats off to our coaching team and to the athletes themselves for producing such an outstanding result.
I got into touch because my eldest son, Clark Hobson, he was really into it, raved about it, and he achieved England standard. I thought, well, I could maybe do that. So I got into it through Nottingham Touch Club 3 or 4 years ago, following my wife and both my daughters into it. After they'd been to a taster session there, they encouraged me to join them and enjoy playing touch.
Touch because it's a game where you can play 14-year-olds and 60-year-olds together. You can play men and women, so you could have a daughter and a mum playing together, and it's a really good fun to play.
I got into touch because my eldest son, Clark Hobson, he was really into it, raved about it, and he achieved England standard. Daughters into it. After they'd been to a taster session there, they encouraged me to join them and enjoy playing touch.
Officials, stand by.
So here we go then, the women's 35s final. West Wildcats taking on the South East Sharks. I'm delighted to say, joining myself, Bradley Hope for this one, I have Sue Ellen Goody, who's got a medal around her neck, and you're absolutely beaming from left to right.
Absolutely delighted. The girls have worked really well this weekend, and we've had a lot of new players, so it was really nice to secure that medal. It was our aim from the start, so we were high expectations, but nice to see that all the girls stepped up and we got there.
Yeah, really good performance from your team, and going into this women's 35s, two really good sides who've had a really good weekend themselves, of course, getting to the final, so they've obviously played well to get here, and it's two sides packed with really, really talented players, so it should be a really interesting final.
Yeah, I think in the round games when they met it was 4-2, so it's actually really close between these two, but you're right, we do have a lot of England senior women in both teams, and they've been having a really good weekend. So I've watched a few of their games. I was coaching the Midland 35s in the box for the semi-final against Wildcats, and they only lost by 1, so Wildcats really worked hard, and it was great to see that they got in the final.
And at the moment looking to try and get the first score. What a fantastic run this is. Can she be stopped? Does the touch come, and she claims it?
Oh, that's Jolene Hughes. She'll be really pleased with that. She tells me a lot that she's not the fastest player on the pitch, but she is very handy. So nearly a runaway. She'll be disappointed not to get to that line, but no, great run. Brilliant burst of pace there to get away from the chasing pack, and fortunately it doesn't end in a score. So turnover for the South East Sharks. Let's see what they can do deep inside their own half. Yeah, the South East have played really well this weekend, so they've just got some really confident and experienced players in there leading the side, and it's really went their way this weekend. So, but Wildcats know what they're up against and will do everything to combat that, so it should be a nice tight final. That's Kylie Hutchinson, very experienced player there. I think she's got over 100 caps, leading the side there. She understands the game really well, so she's definitely one to watch. Brilliant burst through the middle, trying to get past that defence. They just couldn't get the support in time. It's so frustrating when you make that run and you're just always looking for someone for support, almost begging for the support, but doesn't come. No, it's tricky sometimes when you scoop through, because you've got momentum and you go through, and if you're quite fast, then it takes time for those players to get to you. So sometimes you are waiting around hoping not to get touched. And for yourself, Sue Ellen, obviously winning this weekend, but how do you feel the weekend's gone for yourself? Yeah, it's really good. Because I coached the last Nationals, it's nice for me to have a run out, actually, and be considered for England again, but just nice to play the game. I think we've all got a love of the sport, but yeah, no, great to have a run. I've really enjoyed it with all the girls, and they've really stepped up, and just a great bunch of ladies, and we've had a really fun weekend, which is nice as well. I think this tournament's really not relaxed, but it's just really friendly across the board, like friendly competition. Everyone's happy to chat and support each other, and like I know that even though our girls lost to Wildcats, we'll still be supporting all those girls in the final right now. Yeah, it's been a really, really great weekend here in Nottingham. Everyone's given it their absolute all, and it's, I think quite rightly, like I say, it's been friendly competition, been obviously, you know, wanting to win, but you know, at the end, everyone's had a chat, everyone's had a smile on the faces after every game. It's been a really, really pleasant weekend. Oh, it's been lovely. I guess the weather helps as well. Yes. But I think you can't go too many metres without finding someone you know and having a chat and a catch up. And it's just really nice, I think, for us oldies to be able to have a bit of a chat and a bit of playing touch, playing the game we all love, but also bringing some new people in to experience it. I mean, this comp is much better than last year. There's so many more teams. The level of competition is higher. And that's just development of the game and getting people involved. And it's just fantastic to see.
Well, here come the South East Sharks, looking to try and get the first on the board, flinged out to the wings and just maybe trying to stretch the defence, but just being rushed into a mistake. Good pressure from the Wildcats, and I think you're right, Sir Ellen. It looks like one of those games that could be quite a low-scoring affair.
Yeah, this is what we call the grind, though. The real grindy sort of games where it is just driving and defending, and both teams are defending really well, and then they're moving the ball forward, which is nice, but just not quite breaking the barrier on the line. So we need one of the teams to get a bit more momentum here and just set something up so they get an overlap somewhere.
Really good run, looking to try and use that space as the ball's flinged out wide, but just can't be picked up. And again, it's just happened a couple of times in this opening 6 minutes, just that final pass maybe.
There's a nice young ref on there as well. It's lovely to see all the youngsters have turned up actually to support us this weekend, which is fantastic. And lots of them coming to ref and getting the experience. Perhaps it's easier with the slower game. I'm not so sure, but no, it's really lovely to see there's some young refs coming through, because that's what we need. We need to expand that area as well.
Here come the South East Sharks from that turnover over the halfway line. They come, really good momentum again, just driving through the middle. Are they going to try and execute some space out wide?
You can just see Wildcats just rolling there, letting them in. Whether that's tactics or not, I'm not sure, but ideally they want to get on side and get back up, stop that momentum of the Sharks, because I think the Sharks are looking like they've got a little bit more flow to their game at this point.
Wildcats getting over towards their subs box, fresh faces on, rotating the players, keeping it fresh, keeping the energy levels high. Attacking the defence well. Lovely pass over, but just can't be claimed.
No, not quite setting up on the people they need to on that last touch there, that fifth touch. So might need to work a little bit harder on the drive there, but they're going forward. You can see them getting into their half, and that's half the battle sometimes. If you get out of your own half, you've at least got a chance at getting down to that scoreline.
Sharks on.
I see some familiar faces here.
Going through, does the touch come? It does.
Oh, very lucky touch there. I wasn't quite sure she got her. But unfortunate for the Sharks, fortunate for Wildcats.
Well, at the moment we're still hunting for this first try of the game, and it could be one of those ones. Whoever gets the first one could go on and get the momentum and go on and win. Very early days though, still these 40-minute games. There's so much time to, even if you're down by even 2 or 3, time to get back into it.
Yeah, plenty of time, definitely. So if one of them scores, there's plenty of time to score back. But it looks like these two are playing a bit of the long game. Try and tire each other out first. So let's see what Sharks have got there. It's unfortunate off the mark call there for the Wildcats. They had some good momentum going forward there.
Here is Lois Lau, of course, has a trade at CSSC London Eagles to some as well.
Yeah, I played in the women's 27s with Lois at the World Cup. She's a fantastic player. She's so dangerous on your outside. Really understands the game. So I think she's one of the leaders in this team. I believe she got asked to play to really lead the team through, which she's led them to a lovely final. So they keep almost getting there, don't they? They're just almost over the line, and the Wildcats are just within reach.
Yeah, that's it. About the third time now they've been trying to get through to the goal zone to potentially find a teammate, but just being touched on the line. And it's those fine margins in these finals that can make all the difference. And at the moment, the Wildcats are soaking up a bit of pressure, but you never know. They might just hit back.
May do, yeah. I mean, patience, though. It will come. If you're getting to the line and getting just over the line, then it will come. But you've just got to be patient and keep going through the motions, which can be annoying at times. but they will get there, both teams, I'm sure.
Especially in a final, because it's as much as it's the final, of course, it's the biggest game of the weekend. It's also the last game you'll play of the weekend, so it's almost a mix of just sort of nervous energy, but tiredness as well. It must be quite a mix, really.
Yeah, well, there must be fatigue setting in. I mean, I know that we had a 4-hour break before our final, so to get the girls going was a bit of a task at the start, and I think we saw at the start of our final, we just didn't quite have that extra go forward. So, and we were hesitating a bit, which was unusual for this weekend, but just a few nervous ones.
Well, still remains scoreless then in this women's 35s final. Who's going to strike first? We are still awaiting our first drop-off, if we're going to get a drop-off, of course, and they're always quite exciting to watch. Not as much fun to play in, I've heard, but...
they're very tactical, though. So when I was helping out our women's 35s, I had a drop-off team ready in my head to call, because if they did score in those last moments, it was going to be a drop-off. And it can be quite exciting if you've got certain players that are well suited to a drop-off that can drive the ball forward, some nice fast people on the outside, and just playing really smart sort of touch. It can be an absolute winner for you. So some teams are like, yes, let's make it a drop-off. We've got this. So it does favour some teams, but yeah, it's not the greatest. But I must admit, I've played a Euros before where we got ourselves into a drop-off, and we won the drop-off, and it was the most amazing thing. So, you know, pros and cons.
Well, at the moment, if it stays like this, it's a long way to go. We're going to be heading to that drop-off, but Sharks now with the opportunity just on their edge, the 10-metre, but just get themselves into a bit of a fumble, so an opportunity here for the Wildcats.
Oh, unusual to see those two fumble like that, actually. So I think they're just feeling a bit pressured because the time has gone past and they haven't really broken that line as much as they would have liked to. But they just need to keep composure here, both sides, and just set up their regular plays, run them through the motions, and just see.
Just that final pass again from the Wildcats is just letting them down. They're getting closer and closer to potentially getting this first score.
They are. They've been kept on their line a little bit, actually, with a few errors from the Sharks. So let's see if the Sharks can get out of their half and give themselves a go on their own line.
Purpose and pace to that first initial drive. Just have to wait for the new faces to come on, and that's just halted their progress slightly. Sharks
here we go.
There we go, potentially opening up.
Oh, that's such a shame. She had the support but couldn't get the ball away there. I think they need to back themselves a little bit more. I think she was through there. But a lot of it is confidence. We're talking to a lot of our players about it, just backing themselves, knowing that they are ahead of that defender and really, really pushing to go through, really watching the defence, looking for those gaps and just being confident. Oh, that is a lot of ground there. Well done, Wildcats.
Yeah, getting over halfway, and some space maybe to try and get into as well over on the 10-metre. This is really nice from the Wildcats. Really pushing back this Sharks defence. And again, just that final pass every time.
It's tricky when you're running fast and you have to pass those balls. And if you haven't practiced them quite a lot, then they are difficult to get away. I know I've had to practice a lot of passing to get where I am today, and I'm still not quite there. So
it really is a skill, isn't it? To that thinking
draw,
whilst you're going at that pace as well.
Yeah, well, you're running to draw that player, and you're trying to get that ball away. You've got to make sure it goes backwards, you know, but it's got to make the distance. I mean, we were trying to make sure those balls got to our wingers, and they weren't a bad ball. You know, you don't want to put any more pressure on the wingers. Oh, here we go with Lois. She's going to go through. Oh, lovely cut. And there we go. We've got our first touchdown.
Well, it's taken 14.5 minutes, but finally our first try of this women's 35s final. And we talked briefly about the brilliance of Lois Lau. And
on the outside, look, there we go. But Kylie Hutchinson with the switchback, brilliant. Really late cut there and a massive hole. So they'll be really pleased with that one. That's a nice piece of work by the Sharks.
Now, is the normal trend for these games that we've had to wait for a first score. We sometimes get a flurry of them. Let's see what happens with the Wildcats reply.
I always find this is the hard bit. This is the hard 60 seconds we say to the girls, that after you score, you have to get on, the next pod have to get on and really keep out. Because you don't want to give away a touchdown just after you've scored one. And then it just takes it all away from it. So if they can hold them out here, they're in a very good place and drive out of the half, then that puts the Wildcats on the back foot a little bit. Jolene almost getting on the outside there. Lots of passing. We seem to be going backwards though with the Wildcats there. And touch eventually made by the Sharks.
Yeah, they just seem to get a bit cramped up and running into traffic more often than not in that initial attack there by the Wildcats. Let's see if the Sharks can try and get up to the other end of the field and add another one to the board. Good running there, good yards made up. Can they get up towards the halfway? They do.
Okay, this is where the momentum's going to be on their side. You can see the Wildcats are really retreating, giving them a lot of space here. And here's Lois Lau again. Oh, unlucky.
Still only the one then for the South East Sharks. And they were looking to try and add that second one, but just that touch on the line. Again, good defence from the Wildcats.
Yeah, coming in to shut that little pop ball there. But did leave a lot of space, but couldn't get the pass away. I think Kylie Hutchinson was in the space there as a link. Didn't quite get it away. Good pressure by the Sharks there, so you can see the Wildcats feeling under pressure, I think, with not scoring themselves and going to the late parts of the half.
2.5 minutes then remaining of this first half, and just a rare mistake going up towards the halfway, and now the Wildcats just maybe take a moment to compose themselves. A bit of space now on the halfway.
Yeah, classic signs at the end of the half, few mistakes. People are a little bit fatigued looking at, but they are grinding through to the end of the half. We'll see if Wildcats can get a score on the board and even things up.
Could be a bit of a momentum boost for them if they can just before the break. It just alters that team talk slightly.
No, definitely different ball game if they are able to score before the half. Even playing field right from the get-go, but I'm not sure. Sharks seem to be quite good on the defence on their line there.
Yeah, really compact and diligent at the back. Looking at the opportunity to break from their own half, and 90 seconds remaining, and talked about the Wildcats potentially levelling it up if the Sharks can go 2 up at the break. That almost feels like even in a game like this, you're almost 4 or 5-0 up the way it's going.
Well, the fact they took so long to score to begin with, both teams are defensively strong, so... Oh, and she's through. That's a great hole. Oh, well done, Hutch.
Dorothy Bartlett just couldn't get the touch. You can see her right hand was so agonisingly close, but a brilliant run. She saw that gap.
The momentum here, fantastic. Just hitting the right space. It's all about hitting those holes. And if you can be on the run, Lois started that and then went through the hands. It was a really lovely touchdown, actually.
Well, South East Sharks have got their second before the break. Now this is important for the Wildcats. Can they get back to only 1? This could be a crucial part of the game, potentially. Good pressure, though, from the Sharks. 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think the Wildcats, they just need to draw those Sharks out a little bit more. They look like they need a little more space in order to do the moves that they're trying to do. So that's it, bring them out and let's see if they can run something more effectively here.
Into the final few seconds of this first 20.
Be nice if they did get a touchdown now, just to bring things a little bit closer.
There's the hooter, so they know final phase. Can they do? Ball's played out wide, touch comes in. And that will be that for the first 20 minutes of this women's 35s final, and it is the South East Sharks who lead by 2 points to nil. It took us 15 minutes roughly to get the first score, and we'll go into the second half potentially more of the same. Let's see if the Wildcats will get off to the perfect start in the second 20. Well, myself and Sue Ellen will be back for the second half in a couple of moments' time.
The boys are playing incredibly well. They're better than I've ever seen them play. We haven't used the full extent of our playbook, predominantly due to the weather conditions, but it's a slight shame. But they're doing their basics incredibly well, getting us down the park and getting us into a scoring situation almost every driving set. The thing for me is really the team cohesion. That winning these games, winning gold was never the goal for these boys. My goal for them was to get as many of the age-appropriate lads into the men's open training squad for 2020. And it's just fantastic to watch some of them really click, really start to play to their full potential. And I'm going to work very hard with the men's open coaches to make sure the boys that are of an appropriate age get a shot at the open table.
It's been tough, but the result is exactly what we wanted. I'm incredibly proud. It was a really good campaign, and we've been very blessed with a very good cohesive team that has all worked together incredibly well, but couldn't have done anything without the assistant coaches of Keish and Catherine and Matt managing, and all the background help from the high performance team and Pippa. 13 debutants is probably a record for any junior touch team. I think I lost quite a few of the kids from last year, went up into 18s, managed to hang on to 3. The team just gelled straight away. We got working with lots of teamwork, and they just did brilliantly.
Bronze first year, and then we've had silver last year, and then we've done it. Finally got the gold. So I could not be more proud of such an amazing group, and so much youth and talent in that team. We've got 3 14-year-olds winning mixed 18s. It's incredible. Like, the future for England Touch is, it starts here, and it's looking really, really bright.
Business as usual, I must say. I'm quoting Sammy Phillips, High Performance, who has just said that, we've been professional throughout the whole tournament. They have so much self-belief, and they absolutely love working for their team and putting on that England jersey.
Couldn't be happier. This has been a sensational weekend for England Touch. 4 gold medals. I think we've never achieved that before at JTC, and we're ecstatic. It shows that our high performance programme is working, and the athletes we're starting to create are fantastic, and we're so proud of them. Absolutely incredible to be unbeaten at championships in every division. So hats off to our coaching team and to the athletes themselves for producing such an outstanding result.
Boys and officials, 30 seconds. Waving officials, please stand by.
So here we go then, the second half of this women's 35s final. The West Wildcats against the South East Sharks, and it is the South East Sharks after a first 20 minutes, which took 15 minutes to get our first try. It could potentially, are we in for a low-scoring game in general? Or are the Wildcats going to bite back and turn this game on its head? Let's see.
Oh, that's a good choice by Jolene to do the pick up there. That's down. That's a great start to the half by Wildcats to keep themselves in this game.
Perfect start to this second 20 for the West Wildcats. Just what they would have wanted.
Well, that keeps them in it right from the start of this half, so that's brilliant. Let's see if Sharks can reply or if Wildcats can keep them out.
Yeah, really important phase for both sides now. Can the Wildcats just defend this one, even get the turnover? Let's see what they can do. Good early yards here from the Sharks, putting the pressure right back on the Wildcats.
And that's down. Well done, Lois. She got on the outside and got it down quickly. I think they missed where the line was. It looked, we have a look at this replay. Let's have a look. There's just that hole between the mid and the left. She's just beat her mid on the outside. So she's just been a bit quicker than Lucy Richardson on that occasion. Good touchdown, good reply.
Well, it took us 15 minutes to get our first score, and it's only taken about a minute and a half to get two in this second. And the Sharks reply instantly. And you talked in that first half about the importance of that defence straight after you're scoring. So it really is sort of a kick in the teeth, isn't it?
It is. It's just when that happens to you, you just think, oh, we worked so hard to get that first one. And it feels like it's been taken away. But they just need to brush this off, go again, get some more scores on the board if they want to stay in this match.
Well, let's see if they can go again. Here come the Wildcats, looking to try and drive towards this near side touchline. Just run into a bit of traffic, and ball's being turned over. We saw it a couple of times in that first half where they're just sort of getting in the way of each other, almost clumped together at times.
Yeah, the game is all about creating space, and creating an overlap when you can. And I just feel like they're running into where there's not so much space. But if they can start to condense the Sharks and then go the other side, perhaps that's where they can score their touchdowns.
Ball's out, just holding on there. Just looking to try and get to the line. Lovely movement away from Lois Lau.
And that's great cover by the winger there, because that was a lovely hold by the length. If I was a coach, I probably would have said that she should have dived. But great cover to shut that touchdown down.
Good early pressure from the South East Sharks, getting up high and trying to restrict the amount of touches that are available to the Wildcats in the opposition half. Almost being boxed in.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. We had a lot of Wildcats go off and not many come back on. So left without a half for quite a lot of time there, which does have an effect. We can see that 6 touch on the halfway is not what Wildcats want, but it's definitely what Sharks do want. Let's see if they can convert from this position on the pitch.
Yeah, really good opportunity now for the South East Sharks to attack the line. There's 4 remaining now. Just taking the time with it and just working out the best option, the best move to attack the line. Let's go right.
It's lovely to see the level of competition here as well. Like, this is the women's 35s. They've got 4 teams that have been playing really well this weekend. And just the skill level has improved, and it's just lovely to see. And obviously that's great for the selectors who are here this weekend to see who they want for their squads based on how they've played this weekend.
Good early pressure again from the South East Sharks. The Wildcats are really trying hard to get up towards the halfway, get towards their subs box, fresh faces on. But again, it's almost the third or fourth touch now towards halfway. They're really being boxed in, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, they are. The Sharks are really putting the pressure on. They're playing a really nice defensive game, and Wildcats are struggling to get it out, and looking at that, struggling to keep the count, unfortunately. They just need to absorb some of those touches when the shooters come up, but they don't seem to have many options at this point to pass off. So if they had a few more options, they might get round those shooters and make a little bit more ground.
Lovely yards made up, brilliant pass inside. This is Lois Lau. Again, looking to get over the 5 metre mark. She's been instrumental in this final so far, and she's got another one.
Yeah, I think I said at the start, she's dangerous on your outside. She has so much pace, and she's a little bit elusive. She looks like she's not about to go. Gets it back, has a look, and then if she's on your outside, you need to really get moving. Or your link needs to come in and make that touch.
Well,
she saw the space, so well done, Lois. Great touchdown.
All of a sudden, the game has just sort of opened up now, and the South East Sharks have put themselves in a prime position, and now it's for the Wildcats to, does it almost feel like you're just chasing the game, and will spaces naturally open up because you're trying to chase it?
It's horrible chasing a game because you put extra pressure on yourself, but actually you just need to go one touchdown at a time. Run the stuff that you know that you want to run to the strengths of your team, keep going, keep being persistent. And you will find it does come, it's just whether you can get it coming rather quickly so that you can stay in the match. So they're still in it at this point, they're still getting to their line, but we do need to see some touchdowns pretty soon if they're going to contest for the medals.
Yeah, a lot of work for the Wildcats to do. Still time to do it, though. And they won't be disheartened. They'll still keep coming, but...
It's good pressure from the Wildcats here, actually. Really trying to keep the Sharks in their half. If they can do that, then they've got a much better chance of getting to their line and being a bit more of a threat. They really need to look at Lois there. They really need to shut her down if they can. Oh, ball's away. But good coverage out there on the wing. I think by the link coming around the back. So that was... very good sight from that link. So again, you look at the pressure there. They're struggling to get out of their 5. They need to absorb that one when they've got so many shooters, because then the next one's not quite as difficult.
Well, it's been a trademark in the second half of the South East Sharks to really prevent them even entering their own half. And there we go. That's not even the touches, that's just mistakes, and that's what pressure, I guess, can do.
Indeed, it forces those decisions, doesn't it, under pressure, and a lot of the time it forces people to make the extra pass, which, I mean, 9 times out of 10 you shouldn't do. So we always say if you're unsure, just get the ball down for someone, it doesn't matter. We'd rather not lose the ball and have a little bit of a halt in our momentum than throw it away to no one. But pressure does funny things to people, I think.
It certainly does, and especially later on on the weekend when the bodies are tiring, the minds are just getting a bit weary, and the Sharks looking to try and finish this final off potentially.
Oh, that was good defence there by the Wildcats there. The hole did open up for the Sharks, but they covered that really well on the short side.
Good quick passing. Does the touch come in just in time?
I think it might be down. No, they're going to give the touch.
Good defensive covering, and it was just in the nick of time as well. And again, straight away, we've said it so many times, but the Sharks well up inside the Wildcats half, putting the pressure on early and stifling any attack that the Wildcats have, and there we go.
Oh, another error by the Wildcats. I think that's just fatigue. It looks like they may have gone out of the pitch. So if you put your foot on that line, that counts as being outside the pitch. So I've got to be very, very careful there.
Back underway then, Sharks with the lead and the momentum.
This is where Wildcats need to come up. You don't want to give them momentum, give them the space to create that momentum. If they can stop that, it gives them a much better chance.
Well, a rare mistake from Lois Lau. You don't often see her dropping the ball on the 5 metre mark.
No, but you can see her make up for it straight away by shooting up really fast to shut down that drive. So that was really, really impressive turnover from her. But yeah, you don't often see that, but she's working particularly hard. She's been involved in all those touchdowns. So, so yeah, maybe fatigue is settling in just a little.
Just over 10 minutes then remaining, and the Wildcats have a lot of work to do. One final push for both of these sides, a final bit of touch rugby for the weekend here in Nottingham.
Yeah, we really need to see a touchdown in the next sort of 2 to 3 minutes if I think they're going to stay in this match. They may get a roll on if they score one and bring the team up and have a bit of self-belief. But at the moment, they seem to be defending a lot of this game, a lot of this half, I should say.
Yeah, they've been really soaking up a lot of pressure, or nearly clinging on. I wasn't expecting the pass, I don't think, but it's been turned over. Wildcats, well, I think you're right, Suella. I think now is the opportunity for the Wildcats to get at the other end. And
this is a little bit better. We can see them going forward, which is much better than their previous drives. This is great. So some forward momentum. This is 4th touch, I think. Get it down. Let's see if they can do anything off this 5th touch. Oh, that's such a shame. They really need to use those touches when they get up there. Just be aware of the count. Very difficult to create things when you don't have that touch. Jolene going for the switch there, but fortunately couldn't get it away.
yeah, put under pressure at the business end of the half and couldn't use it to their advantage, and the Sharks are, well, they'll be delighted with that. They've got over to their subs box as well. So here come the fresh faces.
Yeah, this is where we need to see Wildcats coming up, and look at all the space they're allowing Lois to have. They really need to cut off that transition because it just creates so much momentum. When we look at the stats, the transition, I think it's like 80% of your touchdowns are scored off transition because momentum is so important. Oh, and that's a lovely dive by Kylie Hutchinson there, just stepping back, and unfortunately the winger just couldn't get there. It's a nice attempt by the winger to make that touch, but this quickie here, coming back, and the link is clearly offside, so she had so many options there. She could have gone to the winger, she could have gone herself, so that's a really good score, and that might secure them the medal. Let's see what Wildcats can give back.
Yeah, it feels like a really important score that now for the Sharks. It almost, if not already, is putting the game to bed. But the brilliance about this sport and the Wildcats at the moment, they are still pushing, they're still trying every ounce of effort to get back into this game, even though you might be almost on your last legs.
Yeah, I think they're just going to have to play it out looking at this. We can tell that the Wildcats have given so much in this first sort of 3 quarters of this match. And it's pretty tough going. The Sharks, lots of subs, looking barely fresh actually.
It must be so difficult when you're behind the game and you're coming to the final stage when you potentially the game is gone.
You just got to keep playing like you don't know the score in a way, because you just want to keep going forward, trying to get those touchdowns, trying to convert in a final. It's great to score in a final, so that's what they really need to go for, and if they get closer to meeting up with the Sharks total, then great, and if they don't, they just want to play well to finish it all off.
Now, of course, this weekend, I know we briefly mentioned about it, the importance of this weekend for the players showcase their chance to get in England camps as well, of course. So even though the game might be not going your way individually, it's a chance to show off your skill set, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, your team might not be winning your match, but you're here also to show yourself off. And I know the coach of the women's 27s is watching. So Gary, if you're out there, hello. 1 hour final, just let you know. But yeah, he's watching on the screen, and I know Ed Budge is watching as well. He'll be watching this match right now. So he's looking for all those skill sets that we require at the top level. And we're seeing some great performances by individuals that are really driving the ball forward, directing play, setting things up. So from that perspective, people need to really play till the end of the match and just show themselves off and hope that they get selected for the England setup.
Well, she's a bit good pressure from the Wildcats at the moment.
Yeah, that's definitely a turnover. Unfortunately, just fumbling the ball there when she put it down. Looks like she's hurt her hand. Yeah, they've called for time, injury time, so she just needs to hop off the pitch, get someone off, and the medical team can go and see her. I think it was her hand as she went to put the ball down. Something's happened there, but hopefully she's not injured too badly.
Yeah, but speedy recovery, and not the way that you'd like to finish off the final as well. For a long weekend, and here come the Sharks again, still full of energy. It's almost like they've got a never-ending battery as well, these Sharks players.
They are driving well. I think they can see that they're well in front at this point. There's less than 5 minutes to go, and they just want to go through the motions here and continue to dominate until the end of the game. So it's good to see teams, though, really pushing themselves right to the end, so you can see the shooting and putting that pressure on. At this point, they could relax and let the Wildcats in, but they're choosing not to do so. It's signs of a good player and a good team. It's good driving by Wildcats, though. They've really made their way up the pitch. That's fantastic. Let's see if they can make anything off this.
Well, they do deserve it. They've really put the effort in. They've tried to make this game as competitive as they can, and they were they really put the game to the Sharks in the first 15 minutes. It was 0-0 until then.
Oh, it was very contested at the start. It was really nice to see both teams just defending so tightly. But it does seem that Sharks have run away with it at this stage.
Yeah, the fitness levels have just sort of kicked in, and the Sharks have just had that edge on that aspect of the game.
They've got some lovely pace in the Sharks as well. So Cece at the moment, who's got the ball, is very fast. I definitely don't want her running on my outside. She's much faster than myself, and you can see straight through and offloads for a touchdown, possibly. Let's see what the refs say.
Just having a quick chat with the referees.
And they're awarding the touch there, so she mustn't have got as clear as what she thought she did. So good touch there. And going forward, this is much better from the Wildcats to really push forward. Let's try and get another score before the siren goes.
Still applying the pressure, the Wildcats really putting the defence under pressure, but again, we've seen it a couple of times from the Wildcats, especially in this second half, where just errors have let them down.
Yeah, the team with the least amount of errors is going to win the match. I think that is Sharks this time. That shows by their conversion rate. But it's just fatigue that sets in. It's towards the end of the game. You can tell the Wildcats have worked really, really hard all tournament. And they had the tough semi, I think, whereas the Sharks had a very convincing win in their semi-final. The Wildcats had to work very hard for theirs. So it all adds up. Oh, we've got another scooper through, and they're going to convert that one. That's down.
Well, brilliantly played from the South East Sharks, and as easy as that, they move on to their 7th, and it was good play again.
This is good from number 10, picking the space on the outside, getting through, and then a nice easy ball out to the winger.
Yeah, Wilkinson, the number 10 for the Sharks, doing really well as we enter into the final 90 seconds on our clock in this women's 35s final. It is the Sharks who have wrapped the game up.
I think so. We've seen some big smiles there from the girls when they lined up in defence. I think they know they've got this, so they're just going through the motions. But it would be nice to see the Wildcats just get one more. Let's see what they can do with this possibly last attack that they might have. Jolene Hughes trying to direct traffic there. Not meant to be, though.
Real shame for the Wildcats. They put in such a good effort in the first 20 minutes. They were toe for toe for the first 15, and the Sharks have just managed to pull ahead. They got that score before half-time as well, which would have given them even more momentum going into the second, and we talked briefly about that period before the break being so important, and they really carried on that momentum, didn't they, the Sharks?
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a different game when the Wildcats scored their first one. If they didn't then concede, that could have turned the tables a little bit for them. It's just unfortunate that they did score straight away, the Sharks, and then they were ahead by a couple of touchdowns. But I think we can't fault the effort of the Wildcats. They are really working hard here, and they're going to play all the way to the 40 minutes. And have produced a great final for us to view here today.
Well, there goes the hooter then. And there is the final touch and the full-time whistle. And what a victory it's been for the South East Sharks in this women's 35s final against the West Wildcats. They have claimed the women's 35s title here at the Touch National Seniors and Masters in Nottingham. Well, so Ellen Goody, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. And we'll move on to our final game of the day, which will be another final, which will see the South East Sharks taking on the Midlands Tigers. That'll be coming up next.
I love playing touch because it's a game where you can play 14-year-olds and 60-year-olds together. You can play men and women. So you could have a daughter and a mum playing together, and it's a really good fun to play.
The boys are playing incredibly well. They're better than I've ever seen them play. We haven't used the full extent of our playbook, predominantly due to the weather conditions, but it's a slight shame. But they're doing their basics incredibly well, getting us down the park and getting us into a scoring situation almost every driving step. The thing for me is really the team cohesion. That winning these games, winning gold was never the goal for these boys. My goal for them was to get as many of the age-appropriate lads into the men's open training squad for 2020. And it's just fantastic to watch some of them really click, really start to play to their full potential. And I'm going to work very hard with the men's open coaches to make sure the boys that are of an appropriate age get a shot at the open table.
It's been tough, but the result is exactly what we wanted. I'm incredibly proud. It was a really good campaign. And we've been very blessed with a very good cohesive team that has all worked together incredibly well, but couldn't have done anything without the assistant coaches of Keish and Catherine and Matt managing, and all the background help from the high performance team and Pippa. 13 debutants is probably a record for any junior touch team. I think I lost quite a few of the kids from last year, went up into 18s, managed to hang on to 3. The team just gelled straight away. We got working with lots of teamwork, and they just did brilliantly.
Bronze first year, and then we've had silver last year, and then we've done it. We've finally got the gold. So I could not be more proud of such an amazing group, and so much youth and talent in that team. We've got 3 14-year-olds winning mixed 18s. It's incredible. Like, the future for England Touch is, it starts here, and it's looking really, really bright.
Business as usual, I must say. I'm quoting Sammy Phillips, High Performance, who has just said that, we've been professional throughout the whole tournament. They have so much self-belief, and they absolutely love working for their team and putting on that England jersey.
Couldn't be happier. This has been a sensational weekend for England Touch. 4 gold medals. I think we've never achieved that before at JTC, and we're ecstatic. It shows that our high performance program is working, and the athletes we're starting to create are fantastic, and we're so proud of them. Absolutely incredible to be unbeaten at championships in every division. So hats off to our coaching team and to the athletes themselves for producing such an outstanding result.
I got into touch because my eldest son, Clark Hobson, he was really into it, raved about it, and he achieved England standard. I thought, well, I could maybe do that. So I got into it through Nottingham Touch Club 3 or 4 years ago, following my wife and both my daughters into it. After they'd been to a taster session there, they encouraged me to join them and enjoy playing touch.
Touch because it's a game where you can play 14-year-olds and 60-year-olds together. You can play men and women, so you could have a daughter and a mum playing together, and it's a really good fun to play.
I got into touch because my eldest son, Clark Hobson, he was really into it, raved about it, and he achieved England standard. I thought, well, I could maybe do that. So I got into it through Nottingham Touch Club 3 or 4 years ago, following my wife and both my daughters into it. After they'd been to a taster session there, they encouraged me to join them and enjoy playing touch.
Well, as we get to 1 minute to go, 1 minute to go to the final tap of the day. Men's 35. Here's the second warning. Players and officials, stand by.
So we move on to our final game and the sixth and final of the weekend. The 2019 Nationals, Seniors and Masters here in Nottingham. So for the final game of the weekend, the men's 35s final, South East Sharks against the Midlands Tigers. You're joined by myself, Bradley Hope, and I'm delighted to say for this final game of the weekend, I've got Mel Day joining me for this one. Mel, the final game of the weekend, and it's set, I'm sure, for another really good final.
I know, it's good, and just for today, I don't go by Mel Day anymore. I go by National Champion Mel Day after that last game.
I do apologise,
That's all right.
I'll get it right next time. I'll get it right next. I'll even write it down.
But I've done background on this game because I saw the round game between these guys earlier this tournament, and the Sharks walked away winners in that match, and they'll be hoping to win this one. And I know a lot of the Sharks guys, so I'll be able to give in-depth commentary, player by player.
Brilliant stuff as the Sharks look to try and get off to the perfect start. He's Justin Conway. To try and get his way through.
Justin Conway, mixed open coach. Apparently he qualifies for the men's 50s as well for the new age category, but he's decided to play for the 35s this round. We've got Ruiz Girani, the number 4. Normally a speedster, but his hair is creating a lot of drag for him this game. So
I was about to say, he must have the best hair in England. Well, England touch rugby, would you say?
It's a glorious mane of hair. Tom Humphreys from Canterbury. You can see with their D, they're getting really aggressive in their D. So good start from the Sharks.
Here come the Midlands Tigers and their first real meaningful attack. Space opening up, needs the support, flings it out right. Does it get it down in time?
I think the touch might have been in there, and the referees agree by the looks of it. Great hands, though, by the number 3 for the Midland Tigers, Andy Higson. And 6 touches. I see you've eaten all the Tesco chocolate brownie bites. They've proven a hit in the commentary box.
They have, and we've tried to make an impact on the millionaires bites as well. Not as good progress on them.
That's right. I'll give you a hand during the game. But yeah, you can see Max Howard coaching the South East Sharks. So he's a men's open player and coaching the boys today. He's only 16 years old, so he doesn't qualify for the 35s. But I've heard he's contributing a lot. We've got Zane Nell going through the number 13. The cut was on. That was actually 5th touch here. So the Sharks have one more touch to try and create something. We've got Genevieve reffing this game. Big final for her. Level 3 referee, but going for a level 4. She's done a great job this weekend. I've seen quite a few of her games. The refereeing has been quality, I've got to say, this tournament. From level 0s through to level 5s, it's been real top-notch. And I'm not just saying that because I've got a game later and I'll finish my game, so that's a genuine compliment to the referees.
Well, it's quite right. There's been a lot of talk about the referees this weekend, saying they've done a really great job, and there's a lot of youngsters as well on the pitches as well that have really refereed the games really well over the weekend. And here's Eric Williams for the Sharks. He gets it back and lays it off.
Yeah, they were trying to run a sweeper play there, but wasn't really working. Jeff Sue's gone from half. Eric Williams looking for a way in, and they've gotten the deviation penalty there. So Obviously, when the defenders retreat back to the onside line, they need to do so in a consistent way. They can't step back and forth. So good milking of the penalty there from Eric. Plays for my club, Galaxy in London. Fancies himself a little bit. We'll just put that out there. Let's see if he can back up the chat and have a good game.
Well, he got a couple of extraordinary tries in the game earlier today that we saw him in. Just a couple of emphatic dives, and looking to try and be involved again. Goes for the dive just as soon as I say it, and gets it as well. Well, he's backing it up at the moment.
Yep. Backing up the big chat, Eric Williams. So he's gone from half here. They've gone for the short runner. Eric, a little quickie on the outside, and boom. I play social touch with him on a Monday night, and he practices that quickie about 60 times during a 40-minute game, so he should have it down pat by now.
Well, the Sharks bite first. They get the first of the final. And how will the Tigers respond? Will they get one straight away? Let's see if they'll do just that. Good quick interchange in the middle, and now space potentially opening up. He gets through, does he? Looks like he does. One apiece.
That's a great score there. Just got them on the outsides. The link just got a little bit wrong-footed here. You see Tom Humphreys at the mid there, ready to make that touch. And the link just caught a little bit flat-footed. Agree with the ref there. Ball looked down for sure. Good start by the Tigers. I think during their last game they lost something like 11-3 or something like that. So making a game of it, great to see.
Yeah, really good response from the Tigers.
All right, we've got Zane Nell, Chile's player from Central London. Running a sweeper play.
Douglas Benzie's in there
Running
as well.
Backdoor there.
The ball out wide.
Great ball. Great long ball out to the wing.
Well, you score, we score at the moment. End-to-end stuff.
Easy as there, wasn't it?
Zainel again flinging the ball out to this near side wing.
Tell you what, he makes that long ball just look like a pop pass. If I pass it that long, I've got to do a wind-up that lasts quite long. Oh, and they haven't given the score there.
Well,
possibly a forward pass is the only thing I can think about that prevented that from being a score.
Well,
and you can see the Sharks getting up in D here, pressuring the attack.
Well, that potential drama going in to when we talk about it at the break. And Midland Tigers, well,
yeah,
still one apiece.
We've got the number 12, Glenn Jones, trying to go from half. A little bit of disruption in the roll ball there, but a good touch by the referee, so it's kind of ruined their strike jump. Glenn Jones going from half. And it's always tough with that fifth touch if you don't get a good strike dump going. Doug Benzie with the ball. And loss of control there. It's a bit of a heartbreaker coming off your line.
Well, Midlands Tigers looking to try and put the pressure on. Can they get over the line? Being one down, going to go 2-1 up. Space opening up, and he's found the gap, has he? Oh, his touch.
Oh.
Was it? Referee's just talking to his colleagues.
Great touch. I think Matt Alfred, the Sharks player, looked like he was off his line there, so good call by the ref.
Good little layoff, but to get it back.
Great shot by the Sharks defence. So did you give me a couple of shout-outs the last game?
We did. Yeah, we did.
I think I did butcher one scoring opportunity. Was that my nickname for the game, the Butcher? That's what my coach calls me. All right, Sharks. Coming off their box, we've got Pete Lee with the ball now. Pete Lee, great player. One of the old school Galaxy players, one of the best long balls you'll see.
Ali Williams just taking a little bit of a bump and just a bit of a stare off with his opposition. Let's see, comes again, a really good drive, positive drive, but also A really good touch as well to stop them going any further.
And it looks like a hard touch called here by the referee, so penalty awarded and 6 more touches. Yeah, Pete Lee, great long ball, great dive. He does dislocate his shoulder pretty much every touch tournament, but looks like he doesn't have strapping on, so he's holding together well.
Still one apiece then between the South East Sharks and the Midlands Tigers. And the Sharks still in possession. Dive comes in. Touch again though. So
They love a good quickie, these Sharks players, don't they?
here's Williams. Eyeing up the line. 5th touch. No one remaining. Owen laying it off back to Williams. Finding the right option. Is he going to go himself?
A couple of show and goes.
Yeah, going past each one. No, not you, not you. And then he tried to get around himself.
All right, let's see what the Tigers can do. Tell you what, 10 minutes into the first half, the Tigers be really thrilled with this scoreline currently. The defence is looking pretty solid against the Sharks. Oh, we've got no number going in for the strike dump. And it looks like an incorrect roll ball has been called here.
So turnover for the Sharks inside their own half. The opportunity goes begging for the Midlands Tigers. Well, it's another final which is at the moment either team can be separated, one apiece in the Sharks and the Tigers.
A couple of strong touches from both teams. You can see both of them getting a little bit mouthy. But here we've got Ruiz Girani back on the field with Justin Conway. Going back the other way, and it looks like hands might be on. A little bit of a wayward pass here.
Yeah, Alex Hunter just trying to get the pass sprayed out to the left-hand side, but went way wayward.
I think I just saw Justin Conway subbing off in D, which is a familiar occurrence. Okay, and Tigers driving towards their sub-box now. Let's see whether they can get some good yards coming up here. Fresh legs coming on. The Sharks only sending one defender up. It looks like Haynes is on some of those occasions to try and make some extra metres. Here they go. Tom Humphreys from Canterbury making the touch here. The Tigers targeting those offside players. I thought that was actually a pretty good set of 6 by the Tigers coming off their line.
Yeah, I think the South East Sharks, Girani making some good yards. Conway now. Start again.
I think I might have just accused him of subbing off in D. I might have to swallow my words as quickly as I'm swallowing these millionaire shortbreads. Dougie Benzie directing play here. Zay Neal going from half. These two guys play for the Galaxy Club, so they've played a bit together. And they both play for Chili's as well on a Monday night.
Oh, beautiful score for the South East Sharks. That was an unbelievable pass and finish. John Irwin, where did he come from?
That was an incredible pass. So look at this, we've got Zaynel going down. Oh no, ball from Zane. Long ball out of nowhere. What a ball.
Well, a fantastic pass and a finish from John Irwin. And nothing really. It feels like the Sharks are 2-1 up in this men's 35s final. Midlands Tigers now needing to respond in a game that felt, both sides almost felt it could have had a claim to say we're in control of.
Absolutely. Looks like they've just lost control of that ball there. Sometimes the men's division get a little bit physical, and they've just proven me right.
And the just taking a tumble, Eric Williams. He's back to his feet.
They've got the penalty here, the Sharks, but I question whether there wasn't a little bit of argy-bargy from both teams here. But the referees have it all in hand. They'll penalise it, and if it gets a little bit too strong, they'll force someone, but keeping it well in check. Tom Humphries, one of my favourite players, actually. Great dive, senior mixed player. Going for the dump. Justin Conway from half, ball out to the wing. Oh!
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to count. It was another really brilliant pass out to the wing from nothing, really. It's been brought back, actually, for the Sharks.
Yeah, it looks like one of the Tigers players was offside, so they've got another set of 6 here. That long ball is working really well for them, actually, the Sharks. Targeting that right-hand wing of the Tigers.
Girani, and here's Hunter. Girani gets it back again. Under pressure straight away.
It's tricky with this men's game because they can throw those long balls. You've always got to be ready for that chase out as a winger, whereas in the women's game there are a few specific players who can chuck the long ball, but no long ball needed here.
No, Alex Hunter just goes in himself.
Rui Girani just going down, and 32 short play, and the short runner, boom.
Nice dive to match as well.
Lovely dive. I wish I could dive like that.
Well, Alex Hunter makes it 3-1 for the South East Sharks in this final. The first time either side's had the chance to really pull away, and all the work now needs to be done by the Midlands Tigers to get back into this men's 35s final.
Sharks on their 5 metre line. We'll see if they drive towards the box. It's still hot out there, and these guys are going to be getting pretty tired now. And they're practically middle-aged as well, so. Here they go, Eric Williams again. I think that might have been a loss of control there from the Sharks. Oh, they got the penalty for the hard touch. Looks like there was a hand in there. Tigers player politely explaining to the ref that there might not have been. But the referee is always correct.
Here is Eric Williams then, 2.5 minutes remaining of this first half. And another try here for the Sharks will really put the pressure on the Tigers going into the second, and Williams just not linking up correctly with his teammate.
I was expecting that sweeper to run a bit of a wider line, but wasn't expecting that tight line, and the pass went a bit wayward. But here come the Tigers. They'd love a score before half time. It's really going to be a game if they can get one back.
Quick little interchange play with the Tigers, but a turnover inside the Sharks half, and you can see they're not rushing this one. Janet just eats up the seconds.
Once again, some polite chat with the referee there.
You can see the signal by the referee, just having a quick word with Eric Williams as he makes his way up the half, and he comes off.
Some strike plays back on the field for the Sharks. Rui Girani off to Justin Conway. Justin ozzing up with his play here.
Girani looking really busy, trying to make an angle for himself or a teammate. Is Conway.
A lot of cuts here, but the Tigers' defence is doing really well. The Tigers' D in that set was actually really, really strong. Seemed really composed. They knew what player they had.
So it's the final minute of this first half, and the Sharks in the ascendancy at the moment. A score before the break, though, would help the Midlands Tigers going into the second with a bit of momentum, only knowing that they only have the 1 point to chase.
Yeah, the players in the box will know that there's only a minute to go, so you'll see a little bit of urgency on this set of 6.
Urgency maybe their downfall on this occasion though, and the Sharks just biding their time with this one. Flicked off to Durrani straight away, now Justin Conway. Durrani again up towards the halfway line. Moves on really nicely, good feet from Durrani. Mix up the yards. Flick back into the middle. Space opening up. Hooter will be going any second now. Touch comes in. Here's the Hooter. And there we go. Just couldn't finish off that first half attack. And the Sharks will go into the break with the 3-1 lead over the Midlands Tigers in this men's 35s. They need a big start in the second half from the Midlands Tigers if they're going to get back into this final. Don't go anywhere. Final 20 minutes of touch rugby in this 2019 Touch Nationals Seniors and Masters is only a couple of moments away.
The boys are playing incredibly well. They're better than I've ever seen them play. We haven't used the full extent of our playbook, predominantly due to the weather conditions, but it's a slight shame. But they're doing their basics incredibly well, getting us down the park and getting us into a scoring situation almost every driving step. The thing for me is really the team cohesion. That winning these games, winning gold was never the goal for these boys. My goal for them was to get as many of the age-appropriate lads into the men's open training squad for 2020. And it's just fantastic to watch some of them really click, really start to play to their full potential. And I'm going to work very hard with the men's open coaches to make sure the boys that are of an appropriate age get a shot at the opens level.
It's been tough, but the result is exactly what we wanted. I'm incredibly proud. It was a really good campaign. And we've been very blessed with a very good cohesive team that has all worked together incredibly well, but couldn't have done anything without the assistant coaches of Keish and Catherine and Matt managing, and all the background help from the high performance team and Pippa. 13 debutants is probably a record for any junior touch team. I think I lost quite a few of the kids from last year, went up into 18s, managed to hang on to 3. The team just gelled straight away. We got working with lots of teamwork, and they just did brilliantly.
Bronze first year, and then we've had silver last year, and then we've done it. We've finally got the gold. So I could not be more proud of such an amazing group, and so much youth and talent in that team. We've got 3 14-year-olds winning mixed 18s. It's incredible. Like, the future for England Touch is, it starts here, and it's looking really, really bright.
Business as usual, I must say. I'm quoting Sammy Phillips, High Performance, who has just said that, we've been professional throughout the whole tournament. They have so much self-belief, and they absolutely love working for their team and putting on that England jersey.
Couldn't be happier. This has been a sensational weekend for England Touch. 4 gold medals. I think we've never achieved that before at JTC, and we're ecstatic. It shows that our high performance programme is working, and the athletes we're starting to create are fantastic, and we're so proud of them. Absolutely incredible to be unbeaten at championships in every division. So hats off to our coaching team and to the athletes themselves for producing such an outstanding result.
Officials, 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Players and officials, stand by.
So here we go then, the final 20 minutes of action here at the Riverside Sports Complex, the 2019 Touch Nationals, Seniors and Masters.
Yeah, and Sharks with the first attacker this half. This last 10 minutes will feel as long as their entire tournament so far. Eric going from half. Oh, touch was in.
Brilliant touch. And the Tigers defend the first one, and that's just what they would have wanted. Get to the other end of the field, put the pressure on.
Great yards here by the Tigers. Making the ball do the work. Look at that, they've made about 20 metres on that touch. Risky plays with that many passes, but it's really safe coming up the field.
Really lively start for the Midlands Tigers. Can they finish off? Get back into this game. Brilliant movement away. Are they going to get in just before the touch? Eric Williams was there. He's claiming the touch, and the referee agrees.
Yep, touch definitely in there. Great play by the Tigers, though. Fifth touch. Really good start by the Tigers, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Just needed to be positive, the Tigers, if they want to get back into this final. Just the start that they wanted. They just need to get the first score. And just a slight injury. I think it's Eric Williams, actually, who's just come off. He's off the field at the moment.
Could have been from that defensive dive, so he's saved a touch. So hopefully he's back up and running soon, but the Sharks will be driving towards their sub box. They've got 3 different pods by the look of it this game, so.
There's Hunter. Conway now.
Tom Humphries picking up from half the number 5. Got a great step on him, Tom Humphries, as well.
And the ball just ricochets loose, and the Midlands Tigers get it back.
And the Sharks have a penalty. Offside by the Tigers here. And you could see the Sharks had them backpedaling quite a bit.
Girani now in the middle, just waiting for the opportunity to get the touch.
Running a 32 short play again. Pulling the defence out. Being patient here with their touch of the Sharks. They're loving these 32 short plays. And 6 again, touched by the opposition. Their 3rd repeat set on the line.
Can the South East Sharks make it count? They've had a good spell of possession. Need to try and finish it off, and a score now would really put them in the ascension on the way for the medals.
A little bit mistimed that 32 short run, but they've got it out to the wing. Touch was in. Good call by the ref there. Andy Panacea on the wing there. He's the under-15s coach for England Touch. Hopefully he's showing all the youngsters how it gets done. Good hands there by Andy out in the wing. Hope I pronounce his last name right. I'm probably butchering those as much as I butcher touchdowns.
Well, he was out at the Junior Touch Champs in Paris, of course, with the England 15s. It was a fantastic weekend in Paris for all the England sides.
Okay, Tigers still like they've got a lot of running in them. 3-1, they can easily get back on this scoreline.
Oh, lovely drive.
11 straight through, speculator thrown, ball down.
Opportunity goes a-begging for the Midlands Tigers. Still, though, are in this game. If they can get the next score, put the pressure on the Sharks, they'll have a fascinating end.
And they're definitely playing a step up from when they last played the Sharks, so hopefully they can convert one of these chances, because they are getting down to the opposition line, and they've just got a penalty on the halfway line. Looks like obstruction there from the Sharks when they've been coming off.
Huge opportunity here for the Midlands Tigers. Can they use it? Well, they get away with one there, or do they get away with it? They don't.
Picked that like a dirty nose, didn't you? Saw the reaction in the commentary box. Oh, but Sharks have given it up straight away. Both teams will be a bit disappointed with this lack of discipline, but after a full tournament, sometimes the mistakes can creep in. Question whether those hips were straight, and Genevieve has called it. As refs, we don't really like players preempting our calls, but I presume we can do so from the commentary box. We've been pretty on the mark, but good call by Jen there. Obviously, when players play this roll ball, they need to keep their hips parallel with the sideline. Jeff C with the ball away. Still alive, Tom here. Off to Jeff again. Great D again by the Tigers. Great scrambling D.
Sharks putting all the pressure on the Tigers now, and they know that the next score could be so crucial. They don't get it this time. The Tigers defend this one really well.
I think Andy was looking for the offside player there. Great dive opportunity. They've killed it on the opposite side of the field to the Tigers box, so the Tigers are going to have to send the ball all across the field to get to their box again. Great driving onto the ball. That is an excellent drive. Number 12, Midland Tigers. Glenn Jones. It's pretty hard when you're blowing a bit and the legs are tired to really get a lot of depth and drives and come onto that ball at pace, but Glenn Jones just showed us how it's done. Oh, Eric Williams back on the field. Good to see he's recovered from that knock earlier.
Yeah, back on the field and back amongst the action. Eric Williams. Here's Girani looking to skip away from his man. Eric Williams back in the middle. Hunter's just to the left of him, opts to go right.
Sweeper play, they've sent the back door. He's come back in and touches in there.
Really good, quick, incisive play though from the Sharks, and they've still got the chance to attack the line.
When the defenders are within their 5 meters, they have to keep on walking up, and they've just been penalised here for not walking up off their line. Here they go, 32 short again from the Sharks.
Eric Williams again, looks to go right and left, but sees Hunter. Girani now whips outside. The ball left.
Oh!
John Irwin gets over the line again for the Sharks.
Here they go, the 32 short again. Not looking for the wrapper, but going on the outside to spot that the winger is off his player. Great hands.
The Sharks leading by 4 points to 1 at the moment, and in the ascendancy, Midlands Tigers, it will be a huge comeback if they can get themselves into this final. Got to do it now.
Dougie Benzie playing mid here, Pete Lee, Aziz Ling, 2 really strong defenders, and intercept taken. So there'll be first touch there. Good defence here by the Tigers. 4th touch on the halfway line. 2 touches to go for the Sharks. I think the Tigers were a bit unlucky on that call there. It looks like some of the Sharks are coming in with their shoulders, coming quite hard into the ruck. But they've gotten the penalty here. Sweeper play around the back.
There's Hunter in the middle now. Alec Williams is there alongside Alex Berger. Alec Williams again looking to go right. Berger laying it off.
I think good defence by the Tigers here.
Ellie Williams looking to try and break through the gap. Touch on the 5th one at the moment.
You can see how tight this Tigers defence is. They're less than 2 metres away from each other. There's a risk of the long ball going out to the left, but this is the way to keep them out on this side of the field, and it's worked for them. Turnover, and they really need to convert one of these possessions soon.
So coming into the final 10 minutes then, and the Sharks know they are getting closer and closer to winning this men's 35s final. They've put everything into it. They've still got the energy to burn as well. Here is Eric Williams again. Girardi. That's the ball out to a central position again.
Tom Humphreys taking the ball down. Referees rule ball down. And loss of control again. Errors starting to creep into both teams. 10 minutes to go. Pete Lee with the ball now.
Justin Conway laying it off, and Chris gets it, just has to step back a tad, maybe just get some more yards to attack. Here's Girani, Conway again. Girani laying it off, he gets it back, ball's whipped out to the left, that's a well
Girani.
Brilliant. John Irwin finishes off. He's had such a great game, but he hasn't really had much to, in terms of the workload to do. He's just been there in the right time, right place. Girani this time with the beautiful fizzed out pass.
We talk about the Tigers' defence being really tight, but they tried to shut that down as fast as they could, but Sharks still got that long ball out. Ruiz Girani. Great long ball. Haven't seen him throw one like that since 2013. Great ball.
Well, the Sharks know they've just taken a huge step towards winning this final.
Oh, Sharks defence scrambling here.
Well, and the...
Now, for those of you at home with a panoramic TV, you would have treated yourself to an excellent score in the corner. But if you're on a budget, you've only got a standard-sized TV, you probably didn't see what we saw, which was an excellent score in the corner by the Tigers. Well done. 5-2.
Well, the Midlands Tigers bring it back, and just the response they would have wanted. Sharks looking to try and attack again. Here is Eric Williams trying to wiggle his way through again. Williams going in for the line, goes left again. Oh, nearly brilliantly taken by John Irwin again. Not as easy for that one. Had to dive out the way of the crowd sitting behind the goal line as well.
Yeah, hard take that one. And the Tigers men playing really well. This Southeast Sharks is stacked with current and former England touch representatives, so they're definitely doing incredibly well. 5-2. Big improvement on their round game. There's still a chance to make a dent. If they score another one, Sharks will be getting a little bit nervous. Oh, great inside ball there to the 12. And great set of six.
To touch, but yeah, a really good set from the Tigers. Unfortunate not to get the score over the line as well, as we're getting close into the final 5 minutes. Both these sides have given absolutely everything. Girani, well, after playing an absolutely superb pass earlier on, just letting one slip. either way side.
We'll rate that one as average at best. I think he was passing to where the player should have been. So
The idea was right. We'll say that. Into the final 5 minutes we go then. Midlands Tigers. Well, are we going to see one of the most stunning comebacks we've seen of the whole touch rugby season? 5 minutes to go, 3 down.
Tom Humphreys coming up as mid.
And he gets the touch in.
We haven't had any drop-offs today, have we? Oh.
None of the finals we've seen today have gone to the drop-off. Are we going to somehow get to a drop-off in this one? Well, not with the play like that. So the turnover now for the Sharks, just over 4 minutes remaining.
Saw a lot of players from both of these teams tucking into the halloumi chips from the food van as well. So I think this is where the impact of that is going to be. I think I saw a couple with 2 servings, so it's got to be weighing heavily on both teams.
I can confirm the halloumi chips were an excellent touch.
The Sharks driving in towards the middle still. Dougie Benzie going from half. Directing play in the middle. Pete Lee at half now, the number 2. As I said, great long ball from Pete Lee. I'm just waiting for him to ping one. And they've just lost the touch count there. Good defensive set by the Tigers.
Yeah, really did well. The Midlands Tigers looking towards their subs box and fresh faces coming on, just wrapping around to get in position. To the halfway line they come now. There's, Stephen Cleary. Good yards made up through the middle, just stops in his tracks though. Lays it off again.
You can see the Sharks are trying to use their links to make some of these touches.
Ooh, space opening up, and it was a brilliant diving effort to stop the man getting through.
Yeah, and he's gone from half there trying to scoot through. So turnover on their 5 metres, the Sharks. Good driving, 2.5 minutes to go. I think the Sharks have got this tied up. Good hands through here.
And a score now, and John Irwin's away again. Is he going to get another one?
Great effort by John Irwin there. Just got a foot into touch as he was making that run, but top effort. Great chase by the Tigers defenders there as well.
So 2 minutes and our clock remaining. Final 2 minutes of action this weekend here in Nottingham. Towards halfway.
Tigers would love to get one back on the board. And as I said, much improved, 100% improved from the last game against the Sharks. So, although the Tigers will be disappointed to lose this game, oh, look at that.
We're going to finish off with a score at least with 90 seconds remaining. 5-3 on the scoreline. Now they've just managed to pull this one back after being 5-1 down at one stage. The dive to match for the potentially the final score of the weekend.
Bit of showboating in the last 2 minutes of the game. Never goes astray. I've got to say, the second half has pretty much been even from both teams. I think the Sharks got the upper hand in the first half, but the second half has been pretty even.
Yeah, the Midlands Tigers have really put a good effort in to this second half, and it's been relatively close at stages of the game. It was 1-1 for a good period of the first 20 minutes.
We've got a penalty for back chat here.
There's the potential opportunity for the Tigers to actually finish the game, only one score away.
I'll tell you what.
That'd be agonisingly close. After being 5-1 down, Midlands Tigers really finishing off in style at the moment.
Yeah, I think they've been the better team in this second half. We'll be looking for phase play here. Fourth touch. fifth touch coming. They really want to set this up. They'd love to finish with the score here. I think the siren may beat them though.
Here comes the hooter. Final phase of play. And very nearly being absolutely wonderful, but that brings an end to our final game of the weekend, and it's a win for the South East Sharks over the Midlands Tigers by 5 points to 3. It was a terrific final between two sides who gave absolutely everything. It was close in the first half, one apiece for quite a while in that first 20 minutes, but the Sharks just edging it after actually going 5-1 in front at one point. Midlands Tigers bringing it back to what was actually a relatively close score in the end. Well, Mel, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box throughout today and yesterday. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Don't you remember my new title?
Sorry, national champion. Mel there, I should say. Oh,
you're welcome, you're welcome. It's been great fun. I'll see you next season.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to doing it all over again. Well, a fantastic day here in Nottingham.
Well done to Sharks for winning the men's 35 final. That concludes this weekend. Hope you all have a good winter down season if you are not playing. And hopefully we'll see you next year.
The boys are playing incredibly well. They're better than I've ever seen them play. We haven't used the full extent of our playbook, predominantly due to the weather conditions, which is a slight shame. But they're doing their basics incredibly well, getting us down the park and getting us into a scoring situation almost every driving set. The thing for me is really the team cohesion. That winning these games, winning gold was never the goal for these boys. My goal for them was to get as many of the age-appropriate lads into the men's open training squad for 2020. And it's just fantastic to watch some of them really click, really start to play to their full potential. And I'm going to work very hard with the men's open coaches to make sure the boys that are of an appropriate age get a shot at the opens level.
It's been tough, but the result is exactly what we wanted. I'm incredibly proud. It was a really good campaign, and we've been very blessed with a very good cohesive team that has all worked together incredibly well, but couldn't have done anything without the assistant coaches of Keish and Catherine and Matt managing, and all the background help from the high performance team and Pippa. 13 debutants is probably a record for any junior touch team. I think I lost quite a few of the kids from last year, went up into 18s, managed to hang on to 3. The team just gelled straight away. We got working with lots of teamwork, and they just did brilliantly.
Bronze first year, and then we've had silver last year, and then we've done it. We've finally got the gold. So I could not be more proud of such an amazing group and so much youth and talent in that team. We've got 3 14-year-olds winning mixed 18s. It's incredible. Like, the future for England Touch is, it starts here, and it's looking really, really bright.
Business as usual, I must say. I'm quoting Sammy Phillips, High Performance, who has just said that, we've been professional throughout the whole tournament. They have so much self-belief. and they absolutely love working for their team and putting on that England jersey.
Couldn't be happier. This has been a sensational weekend for England Touch. 4 gold medals. I don't think we've never achieved that before at JTC, and we're ecstatic. It shows that our high performance program is working, and the athletes we're starting to create are fantastic, and we're so proud of them. Absolutely incredible to be unbeaten at championships in every division. So hats off to our coaching team and to the athletes themselves for producing such an outstanding result.
Well, what a weekend it's been here in Nottingham for the 2019 Touch Nationals Seniors and Masters. And it was a win for the South East Sharks in the men's 35s final. And we're going to go pitch side as Chris is with one of the winners from the South East Sharks team, Dougie Benzie.
Yeah, Dougie, it was closer at the end, but it seemed pretty comfortable at the same time. Is that something you'd agree with?
No, I don't think so. I think if it looked comfortable throughout the game, we certainly weren't feeling that in the box. But we got a good blend of experience and some new players in our team, and they ground out throughout the whole thing. But sometimes we made it hard for ourselves, but I think Midlands really went for it right from the start. So it felt like a really good game to me, so hopefully it was good to watch.
It followed hot on the heels of the women's 35 from the Sharks winning their competition as well. Do you get much impetus when you're watching other teams from the region do well?
Yeah, I think it's really good. You might have seen the tunnels the teams make for each other, and the region supports each other. So we had 2 teams in the 35s division. We trained together, we helped coach each other, challenged each other, and it's a really strength of the region that we look after each other. So it came through at the end.
And have a healthy bit of rivalry as well between you.
Yeah, definitely. We had the Derby game. There was a few hard touches in that one. But yeah, we just tried to support each other and develop touch as much as we can in the region. And luckily, the 2 teams came out on top here. So
yeah, the honours this weekend have been very much shared between been spread around amongst the regions. What do you put that down to?
I think I played in this competition last year, and each year it gets tougher and tougher. And as I said, we had some good international experience in our team. Last year we looked at it and we felt very confident, and this year we just knew it would be a step up again, and it definitely felt like that on the pitch. And I'm sure next year will be tougher again. So all the regions are pushing it all the time.
Yeah, as you were saying that, that you've obviously yourself and some of the other guys, with the international experience, there's something that's been running through the successful teams this weekend has been that core. And the other people, and also the non-international stepping up to the plate as well. Is that something which you'd echo in terms of training and how you bring them on?
Yeah, definitely. I think touch is one of those great sports that you can take up at any age. So this was an over 35s category, and we had guys who were playing at this level for the first time ever. And to see them come in with the new enthusiasm and the energy, it really gave the more experienced guys a kick as well. So yeah, our squad was really positive the whole time, and hats off to the coaches and the players. They worked really hard.
Do you envy the coaches and the selections they're going to have to make for the England squads this winter?
No, I think it's getting tougher and tougher. I think they've got we're at the start of another 4-year World Cup cycle, and there's guys there today that you can see they're new to touch, but they've got great potential for the next 4 years. So I think the coaches have got to look at quite big squads and look at those guys developing through.
Well, Dougie, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations. We'll give you a trophy in just a second, and we'll just hand back to Brad just to wrap up what has been a superb weekend of touch.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, what a fantastic weekend it's been here in Nottingham for the 2019 Touch Nationals Seniors and Masters. Well, thank you very much for joining us throughout the weekend. It's been a pleasure to bring you all the coverage throughout these past couple of days live from the Riverside Sports Complex in Nottingham. A huge thank you to the Riverside Sports Complex for hosting us this weekend. It's been a fantastic venue. We've seen some brilliant touch, some brilliant games, and the finals were absolutely fantastic. Well, from everyone here at England Touch, thank you very much for tuning in this weekend, and we'll see you next time.
I love playing touch because it's a game where you can play 14-year-olds and 60-year-olds together. You can play men and women. So you could have a daughter and a mum playing together, and it's a really good fun to play.